the International Healthcare Metaverse Conference. And I would like to give a big special thanks to the Sheikh Khalifa Specialty Hospital for welcoming us to this wonderful day and this event. We've traveled quite far. We have participants from all around the world coming, and we're very excited to be here. To start, I would like to introduce the CEO of the hospital, Jeong.
I don't want to make a mistake, so I write down some greeting meant. Yeah, I'll read this. Yeah. Welcome to the 4th International Healthcare Metaverse Conference. Dear esteemed guests and colleagues and healthcare innovators, on behalf of Sheikh Khalifa Specialty Hospital, it is my great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each one of you as we embark on the 4th International Healthcare Metaverse Conference. This event, brought to you in collaboration with the Seoul National University, Bundang Hospital, and HealthOne Cloud, promises to be a transformative experience as we delve into the cutting-edge realm of the healthcare in the metaverse. As CEO of SKSH, I am honored to stand before you and alongside with esteemed individuals who have graced us with presence, namely Korean ambassador. He's not here, but he'll be here. So as the ambassador in UAE, Mr. Jeong, and we have Mr. Lodi today, who serves as a special advisor to the Ryul, and also president of IHMC Global, Dr. Sanghoon. Yeah. Okay. As we gather here, both physically at SKSH and virtually across the metaverse, we found ourselves at the intersection of the innovation and the healthcare excellence. Whether you are joining us on-site at SKSH or participating virtually from around the world, your presence adds immense value to this collective journey. Our aim is to foster an environment of exchange, collaboration, and inspiration, and we collectively contribute to shaping the future landscape of the healthcare in the metaverse. I extend my sincerest gratitude to all the participants, sponsors, and organizers who have made this conference possible. Let us seize this unique opportunity to connect and learn and innovate and transcending geographical boundaries and embracing the limitless potential of the healthcare metaverse. I would like to wish you an enriching and memorable conference experiences. Thank you.
And now we have a couple of short videos with some remarks for people that could not make the journey, so please bear with us.
Hello everyone, I am Soondo, President of the Korea Health Industry Development Institute. First of all, congratulations on hosting the 4th International Healthcare Metaverse Conference, hosted by Seoul National University Bundang Hospital and Sheikh Khalifa Specialty Hospital. And also, I would like to extend the warmest appreciation to Dr. Ralph MacKinnon of the University of Manchester and Mark Jeong of Harvard Medical School for taking the time to attend. Recently, digital transformation is rapidly occurring in all industrial areas, and in particular, the application of new digital technologies in the healthcare is presenting a new vision for healthcare. So, the theme of today's conference, a new era of healthcare innovation, is a very meaningful choice. A metaverse, which will become another way for humanity to experience the world in the future, is attracting attention in the healthcare as an innovative solution for training medical personnel, providing telemedicine, and improving patient communication. I hope that many of the experiences and ideas of various experts will be shared and discussed at today's conference, so that Metaverse can creatively solve the various problems in the healthcare and be integrated into the healthcare system as a reliable solution. Congratulations once again on hosting the conference, and I hope you have a fruitful and enjoyable time. Thank you very much.
We have one more video coming up.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, marhaban. I am Jeong, Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to the United Arab Emirates. It is my great pleasure to congratulate on the opening of the International Healthcare Metaverse Conference today. Let me first appreciate all efforts of the healthcare workers and businessmen around the world who are initiating role for better patient treatment. In particular, I wish to acknowledge the success of Dr. Jeong, CEO of Sheikh Khalifa Specialty Hospital, and Professor Sanghoon from Seoul National University Bundang Hospital in preparation for this wonderful event. Also, I cannot forget to express my pleasure on the presence of His Excellency Lord Embrecht, political advisor to the ruler of Ras Al Khaimah and former Dutch ambassador to the United Arab Emirates. It is with regret that I have to send this message in Dubai as the COP28 is taking place in this emirate, but I'm able to visit SKSH this afternoon, so let us meet in person on the site a couple of hours later. Metaverse is a new and integrated platform of data, network, and emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, extended reality, and digital twins. It will undoubtedly bring about a paradigm shift in the ICT ecosystem. Accordingly, I believe today's conference serves as an opportunity to explore how to introduce and effectively apply the metaverse to the healthcare fields, including medical education, surgery, and treatment. Back in 2021, Seoul National University Bundang Hospital and Health on the Cloud combined effort to hold the first International Healthcare Metaverse Conference in Manchester, United Kingdom, then followed by the second conference in Seoul, Korea, and then the third conference in Singapore. And I am very glad as a Korean ambassador that the first conference takes place in the Emirates of Ras Al Khaimah, hosted by SKSH, where Dr. Jeong and his colleagues from Seoul National University Hospital are devoted. It is noteworthy that SKSH has been committed to enhancing the medical infrastructures in Ras Al Khaimah with its professional treatment for special conditions such as cancer, neurology, and cardiovascular diseases since 2014. SKSH has shared the achievements of Korean medical technology with the local medical staffs and provided outstanding medical service to the United Arab Emirates nationals. In 2020, the hospital was recognized as the most innovative hospital by the United Arab Emirates Ministry of Health and Prevention, establishing itself as an institution that represents the excellence of Korean healthcare. Metaverse will give us a chance to further enhance medical education, including surgical training and collaboration among healthcare professionals going forward. With these advancements, I sincerely believe we can write a new chapter for not only Koreans and Emiratis, but also people from all over the world to have a healthier longevity. Looking forward that today's discussion on the Metaverse paved the way to enhance healthcare cooperation between Korea and the United Arab Emirates. I wish all of you good health and happiness. Thank you. Shukran. Inshallah.
Okay, next, could I ask His Excellency Lodi Imbar to come up, please, and give some kind words? Good morning, and this is a surprise. I didn't prepare anything, so bear with me. But having said that, I'm really happy to be here. Especially, and now I have to dig in my memory for my best Korean. 저는 주한 네덜란드 대사에 있었어요, right? Not just in UAE, but also in Korea. And I got to know Korea as a country, as a country at the forefront of technology. And that's in the medical field, and we're talking SNU today, but I've also worked a lot when I was in Korea with companies like Samsung. And that's I hope that we can experience and learn here today as well. And I'm really happy when I came to Ras Al Khaimah to see so many Korean friends here actually. And to be able to see the hospital here, although it's not accessible for everyone, you're there when we knock on the door in that sense. But today's program, what I really appreciate is what you're going to do in the second stage today. You bring pitches to the forefront, right? You bring young companies here, you bring entrepreneurs here. Actually, you bring the future here. And that, I believe, is in line with what His Highness the ruler, Sheikh Saud bin Saka Al-Qasimi tries to do, is connect young people, create a platform for young people to come up with ideas, to grow, and to connect. And that's what you're doing today here as well. And that's why I'm really happy to be invited. And I wish you all a wonderful conference and hope to see you all in another setting as well soon. Thank you. Next, I would like to ask Dr. Sanghoon Jeong, President of the IHMC.
Dr. Jeong Lee, the CEO of this prestigious hospital, and Dr. Soondo Cha, President of the KD Korea, and His Excellency, His General Seung, Korean Ambassador to UAE, and His Excellency Lodi Embrich, so the political advisor to the Ras Al Khaimah rulers, and my colleague, faculty staffs of the Sheikh Khalifa Special Hospital, and the ladies and gentlemen. So we are in the big wave of the digital transformation all everywhere, and the healthcare sector cannot be an exception. So today I'd like to share how healthcare future paradigm will be changing and how Metaverse can be applied to healthcare sector. This is the disclosure. When we mentioned about the future medicine, we cannot skip the important statement from the former US President Barack Obama at his state address in 2015, so-called precision medicine initiatives. He told an emerging approach for disease prevention and treatment that takes place into the people's individual variation in genes, environment, and lifestyle. As most medical treatment have been designed for average patients, but not for all. After then, he set the very strong way to R&D in healthcare sector. So the ICBM, Internet of Things, cloud, big data, mobile, together with AI became key words of the future medicine. But please note that the IoT and cloud and the mobile is a kind of vehicle for big data, storage data and sharing data, communicating data. So big data is the most important thing. But think about the human big data, human data, medical data. Even in single individuals, we have a lot of the medical records, the CT, MRI imagings, and the big data of the genomic data. And even together with, we have lots of the wearables and the socio-economic factors and the environmental factors. and the lifestyle. Even single individual data is very, very big. So if I give you so million people's data, it is very difficult to use cleverly. So that's the reason why we need to collect the data as platform for the purpose of the how to use it. And second thing, artificial intelligence is the top, but please note AI can be developed and advanced depend on the sound big data. And the network is also very important in healthcare. When the 5G was introduced, media and people, so it's very good for the entertainment or game, but it's more than important in healthcare. For example, when I do robotic surgery, my console and the patient robot arm is just about the 3 meter distance. But when we can realize 60, 70, or even 80, we can do surgery, robotic surgery from here, SK, SH, to surgery to patient in the Korea without the delay. Super low latency, super connectivity, it can make the big paradigm change of the future medicine. So big data network, artificial intelligence, this kind of technology advancement, and more importantly, participation of the citizen and the patient, we can make a really cultural shift in this field. In meantime of the digital transformation, we have hit by the COVID pandemic. During COVID pandemic, we recognized the importance of the global communication and cooperation and the importance of genetics, bioscience, data network. And additionally, virtual healthcare will be on the very much a big interest in the advancement. What is virtual health? Usually we say the telemedicine is a kind of synchronous telemedicine. It's a very narrow concept of the virtual health. But the virtual health including all these kind of concepts. So Harvard Business Review defines, it refers use of enabling technologies such as video, mobile app, or text messages. It can deliver healthcare service in a way that independent of time or location. And the Deloitte also defines it as a continuous and the connected care delivered by digital and the telecommunication technologies. So virtual health provides lots of advantages, continuity from home, outpatient to inpatient, and provide the connectivity encompassing asynchronous and the synchronous modalities, and the coordination of the linking all stakeholders and the care continuing from well-being to acute to post-acute care. So future state of healthcare delivery model is the patient-centered or the customer-centered orientation. All the related things are surrounding the single patient, single customer, and the change focusing from acute care to prevention and the well-being, and enabling seamless doctor to patient, doctor to doctor interaction. So what is the concept of the smart hospital? So about 20 years, 20 years ago, a hospital with a good EMR or something, will be a well digitalized hospital, seems to be a smart hospital. But I was asked in a media interview in Moscow, what is concept of smart hospital, like smart hospital? So I think the smart hospital is continuous innovating hospital, maximally using cutting edge digital technologies. So next role of the smart hospital is not stay usual conventional role of the patient care, education, research, but smart hospital should be a center of the business development and connect end user, academia, and the industry. So lead the future clinical trials. And the smart hospital should integrate the future technology to build the final test bed and the application. Okay, let's talk about the metaverse in healthcare. What is a metaverse? It is a set of virtual space where you can create and explore with other people who are not in the same physical space as you. So do I have to care? Well, metaverse is taking off the earth on our light. My answer is clear. We should care and we should ride on this new galaxy. As mentioned, the DNA, data network, artificial intelligence, these general purpose technologies, together with a very strong technology of XR, extended reality, we can swim without the limitation of the human space and the time. From real human to meta-human, the physical space and the virtual space, and from now and the past and future, we can swim very easily without any limitation. So what is XR, extended reality? XR includes the virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality together with the data, information providing, and even provide haptic sense in the virtual environment. It's a very strong hyper-connecting technology between the real and the virtual world. So it can, till now, we do not have any clear definition of the metaverse, but we can do step by step. Very easily, we can apply the basic medical skill education for patients, the suturing or injection, that kind of simple procedure education in virtual environment. And we can provide some kind of the simulation education. This is how to tracheostomy care in virtual environment. And the more advanced, this is developed by the Health and Crowded Asylum Medical Center together with Smart Hospitalized. This is a sepsis patient care mode. So the virtual patient complains of the shortage of breath, and the trainee should check vital sign and the laboratory finding. We can provide the next step for evaluation and even test of this educational course. XR is also very good for development of digital therapeutics. I applied it to my patients receiving chemotherapy or hemodialysis, either providing virtual environment to minimize mental stress and anxiety level. It was very good. Even patients receiving the chemotherapy, we can provide a very comfortable environment. This is an example of the CPR education. Training is the performing cardiac compression CPR to well-censored molecule. And in the virtual instrument, the training is communicating AI tutors and communicating with the virtual passengers by asking for call 911 and bring the aid. And all the performance data is digital and the cloud. So the physically real signal and the virtual environment is completely matched. So when I was Hatha CEO, I made a special operation room, smart operation room, for the purpose of the surgery education. It was very helpful. It was set before COVID crisis, but it was very helpful during COVID period to teaching my medical students and the foreign doctors.
The metaverse also has a role to play in medicine. Korea is a leader here, too, using virtual reality to help doctors learn together about the latest surgical procedures being done here, even while on the other side of the world. In the second installment of her series on Smart Korea, our Jeong looks at how Korea is taking medical education and training to the next level.
This may look like an ordinary medical conference, but take a closer look. It's a metaverse conference where health professionals from around the world come together as avatars to see how South Korea conducts surgeries. Thanks to virtual reality technology, they can watch the surgeries up close and from all angles. All they need is a VR headset or an electronic device.
This is where the surgeries are filmed, at the Smart Operating Room in Seoul National University Bundang Hospital. You can see there's a lot of equipment for them to film and live stream their surgeries. And let me show you just how smart their operating room is. If you follow me, there's a 360-degree camera that captures the surgery in all angles. This way, you can see what each surgeon is doing inside this room. And if you're a viewer, you can use a monitor over here, All you need is an electronic device and use a mouse cursor to see all angles inside this room. There's also voice recognition devices. Hey Alexa, turn on the surgical lights. You can see just how smart this room is for educational purposes.
As Korea's medical techniques have advanced, surgeons around the world have visited Korea to learn how surgeons here have gotten to excel in areas like minimally invasive laparoscopic surgeries. But with the pandemic, flying to different countries to learn medical know-how has become difficult. That's why in 2019, Seoul National University Bundang Hospital introduced the Smart Operating Room. This has taken Korea's medical education to a whole new level.
Before, doctors would have to fly to Korea and squeeze themselves into a small room and stand on a stool to see how we operate. Now, all they need is an electronic device. Thanks to VR tech and 360-degree cameras, doctors can see every angle of the operating room and how the procedure is done up close.
After attending a Metaverse surgery, the National University Hospital in Singapore decided to implement the Smart Operating Room in its own hospital.
One video speaks more than 1 million words. So in the same sense, one piece of digital technology with video, 3D immersion, 3D and 360-degree immersion into a virtual environment can enhance the experience of the surgeon.
Okay, like this, the usual medical conference, but the real attendants will be staying in the hospital office or even in their home where they head-mount display or even notebook computer. So this is the kind of cardiac surgery when mitral valves repair the minimal invasive. So when you wear the head-mount display,
블루스탑,
very big size clear surgical field.
블루
On your
아우트.
head right side, you can see how cardiopulmonary machine is working.
손에 물량
When you turn
줘봐요.
your head left side, you can see how
오케이. 여기
it's doing.
쏙쏙.
So it provides a maximum educational purpose. So it will provide even better than you are real in the operation theater. So what is the universal health coverage by defined from WHO is the individuals, communities should receive the high quality medical service without suffering financial hardship. But what is the real world? I mentioned in my founding address of Smart Hospital Alliance, global efforts that are focused on reducing and eliminating healthcare disparity still have a long way to go. I believe the Metaverse and its core technologies is the best way to overcome these obstacles by providing an effective knowledge sharing platform for immersive global medical education. So the reorganized Smart Hospital Alliance, Dr. MacKinnon will be introduced really next session. So utilizing this kind of technologies, we said that the Metaverse University, Metaversity. In the cloud library, we can find in lots of educational material so that anybody can access and take a learn about, and we can provide a very effective surgical conference, surgical education utilizing XR technologies. So utilizing this system, Asian, we start in the middle of the setting Asian Board of Thoracic Surgery. So many of the Asian countries, they only provide a medical doctor license, another board certified, another certification for the specialist. So we provide a very high quality education material on the cloud library. The applicant can access and learning. After finishing that kind of learning, we invite the applicant in the virtual conference room, Metaverse conference room, together with the global expert, doing oral tests or checking their surgical quality. After they fit to some kind of criteria, ASCBTS, Asian Society of Cardiovascular Thoracic Surgery, will give a certificate for qualified surgeon. So we also in the middle of creating the hospital, the global hospital on the cloud without country barrier. So concept is like this. The virtual and the Metaverse elements. it will be very effectively used. Using this system, we just started the Colombian Healthcare Transformation Project by the financial support of Inter-American Development Bank. When we had the launching ceremony last August at the Colombia. So this Colombia project will have introduce detail in the next session. So utilizing the new technology, I think we can open the surprising future. Thank you very much.
Okay, everyone. Up next, we're going to start session 1, and I would like to introduce Dr. Ralph MacKinnon, who is the chair of the Smart Hospital Alliance.
Okay, hi. Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for this opportunity to speak in front of you. I apologize for the slight delay there. I've been given the great honor of introducing the concept of the Smart Hospital Alliance at this wonderful location. So what I'd like to do is just very briefly step through the concepts of the Smart Hospital Alliance. I think the wonderful presentation by Professor Jeong just explained to us what we mean by the metaverse, and so thank you for that. And also with respect to a smart hospital, I think that was adequately covered in the previous slide, so I think I can go through that. I'd like to focus on the Smart Hospital Alliance, if I may. The Smart Hospital Alliance was created in December 2021, and the real concept is that of bridging global hospitals and medical institutions really to leverage technology to support emerging countries. And hopefully in this presentation, you will see some aspects of the Colombia project, which really does speak to the nature of this Smart Hospital Alliance. The Smart Hospital Alliance really focuses on creating a community of practice where we're really trying to share resources, trying to mutually engage, and trying to be jointly accountable. And this is the key concepts of a community of practice, a global community of practice. And when we are sharing resources, this is something that it's sometimes quite difficult for healthcare institutions to actually do, where it's quite normal for us to produce really high quality content for our own staff, for our own patient-centered care. However, to take that from one hospital and share it across borders is so powerful, and it's something that is so disruptive and new that it's of real value. Mutually engaging, again, Professor Jeong kindly showed the conferences that we have and that we can each attend. And again, there's obviously opportunities there for networking and engaging with each other. But the accountability bit is really key. We need to be jointly accountable to produce really high quality educational content so that we impactful for patient care. I'm just going to go through a few slides. So where can we, as a community of practice, where can we collaborate? Well, we can collaborate. The metaverse is almost infinite, and we can collaborate over a whole stream of themes. The first one being teleconsulting or counseling. We can also do this for remote surgical education, for creating which I'll come to in a moment. We can do this for immersive nurse education and interactive medical training, be that undergraduate, postgraduate, and continuing our professional development. And obviously, if we have a network of hospitals globally who are working together to try and leverage technology to enhance patient-centered care, then we can do a number of randomized controlled trials or remote clinical research methodologies to enhance the academia that supports the healthcare in the metaverse. I just want to focus for a second a little bit more and dive deeper into the Colombian healthcare project that has now really taken root. The first stage of this project is really a tele counseling or teleconsulting stage, and that's really the goal of this is to link a large or two large city hospitals with a very remote rural hospitals. In this case, we're very fortunate to have landed in Bogota in Colombia, and then the opportunity there is to link digitally with remote hospitals in the Amazonian regions of Colombia. The second stage of this project, and the phase 2 part, is the part that really excites me, because I'm at heart a medical educationalist, and there's a real opportunity here for us to again share our knowledge bi-directionally, sharing our knowledge to enhance patient care. So what we can have is, of course, we can create from our own hospitals a bank of resources. Most of our hospitals do have these. However, there is also the opportunity for those hospitals that are joining the Smart Hospital Alliance that perhaps don't have that resource that they really would like, such as for pediatric ECMO, for example. Then there's the opportunity for hospitals that do have that capability to share and to in essence spread that educational knowledge, which is absolutely key if we are going to leverage technology to do some good. So in terms of the benefits of being in the Smart Hospital Alliance, well, I would hope they are obvious. Clearly, there's the opportunity to collaborate and network. Clearly, there's the opportunity to enhance education and training in our own hospitals, but to learn from how hospitals globally are managing the potential difficulties and challenges that we have with our patient-centered care. We are deliberately trying to focus on complex clinical situations so that we can really have some clear focus. And we're also focusing on research and development and developing the academia behind this. And finally, with a Smart Hospital Alliance, there's the real opportunity to bring applications to the forefront. And hopefully this will be evident in session 2 that we have here, where we can bring startup applications or at least break down those doors that it's so difficult if you are a new starting company to try and get into a hospital to be listened to, even though you have this fantastic and wonderful idea. So we hope that this will become a gateway that will allow companies to join us with us in leveraging technology to enhance patient care. So just to touch again on teleconsulting, and this is the concept of medical tourism, or this is the concept of really removing boundaries, removing borders, allowing doctors and healthcare professionals to counsel each other across the internet, across the metaverse, allowing remote to central and vice versa, bidirectionality of care, which is really, really important. In terms of our the concept of creating a resource which is shareable, that one can contribute to, well, we have created a platform which is called MedTist, which you will learn a little bit more of a little bit later in these presentations today. But MedTist in essence is a wonderful resource which will take all sorts of formats of educational provision, so that one can really dive deep into different areas of healthcare. The key to this is, in essence, by each of us working in an alliance, it's much easier to create high quality content, and this platform provides the opportunity to share this content. One example of which is the fantastic collaboration that occurred with Asan Medical Center and with Health on Cloud, creating an immersive sepsis program, which really does allow you to not only learn the principles of how to manage sepsis and sepsis 6 principles, but there's also a gamification style possibility in this kind of initiative. So, and also the possibilities, well, the potential there for the hospitals to really benefit in terms of how they can track and really get through the sort of not mandatory training, but advanced training that one requires to ensure that your entire hospital is a safe place for your patients to be in. So hope I've just given you a brief run through. I'm conscious of time, and I'm really keen so we can start listening to the 8 presentations that are following me. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first presentation. So could I please invite Dr. Mansi Sachdev to come to stage, please, and give a presentation on CAR T cell therapy. Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Mansi Sachdev. I am a pediatric hematologist and a bone marrow transplant physician at Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center in Yas Clinic at Abu Dhabi. And today, first of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers for the meeting for conducting such a wonderful meeting, and thank you for having me to present our experience with CAR T cell here in the UAE. So what I have tried to do is I'm just going to talk briefly about what CARs are, not the CAR, but the chimeric antigen receptor, what is the CAR T therapy, and then walk you through a case. Actually, that's the first pediatric case that we treated here in the UAE with CAR T cell therapy. It was a locally manufactured CAR T cell that we did in Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center. I have no disclosures. So what is CAR? So CAR stands for chimeric antigen receptor. And what are these CAR T cells? These are actually T cells that are genetically modified to have these chimeric antigen receptor on them. So these are the T cells that have been genetically modified to identify cancer cells and kill them. So why are these receptors called chimeric? Because of 2 reasons. 1, they have the antigen binding site, and 2, they do T cell activating function as well. So it's like a receptor that has 2 functions. That's why it's called chimeric antigen receptor. And really, CAR T cell therapy uses these T cells engineered with CARs to treat cancer. And there are 2 ways of using these CAR Ts. If they are made or manufactured from the patient's own cells, they're autologous. If they are from a donor, if they derive from a donor, they are allogenic CAR T cells. And this is the usual construct, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So let's first, kind of talk about what is the CAR T concept. And really, what it is what we're doing is we are this is synthetic biology where you're really forcing the T cells to work like an anti-cancer drug, but a living one. And this is done by genetic modification. That's the technique that we're using. And if you look in this cartoon, the top cell there is your B cell that is expressing CD19. So it could be your B cell leukemia or B cell lymphoma. And here is your T cell. This whole thing is your T cell. And the T cell now, as you can see, is expressing this molecule here. Is there a pointer? Can I use a pointer? Yeah. And here you can see, this is the molecule or the receptor that we have genetically modified the T cells to have. And it has a monoclonal antibody, which actually identifies the CD19 antigen on your B cell. And then there is this whole machinery here, which consists of co-stimulatory domains. Mainly it is CD3 zeta and also 41BB that has been used in the 2nd generation CARs. So what we are doing really is we are engineering these T cells to identify these B cells who have these CD19 on them, recognize them as cancer, and kill them. And that is how CAR T cells actually work. So really, CAR T concept is not new. It actually went back, if you go back, it started in the 1980s and 1990s. And I was listening to one of Dr. Stephen Grubb's lecture on CAR T, and he really called this a 20-year overnight sensation, where initially, we knew about and we knew how to make the synthetic T cell receptors. We were doing phase 1 studies back in the 1990s, but we were not heading anywhere. We were not seeing any success. Why? Because there were no side effects, but there was no efficacy as well. And we found that these cells were not there in the body. And really, we need these cells to be in the body to show any effect. This is how CAR T cells are manufactured. Again, if you take a look at the top, this is basically your patient. So if you take patient cells, they're autologous. If you have a donor, then they are allogenic CAR T cells. Simply put, you collect the T cells and you send them to your GMP facility where they are stored. Either you can cryopreserve them, so you can actually take these T cells months ahead, freeze them, and then rethaw them and do whatever you want to do, or it can be as fresh as 2 weeks. So what they do is they then transfuse them with lentiviral vector, which then have these CAR T cells embedded in them, and that's how you get the CAR Ts. And then you infuse them again to the patient whenever you need them. That sounds very simple, but actually it's a very, very complex procedure and a process. Because when we are treating a patient who has CAR T or who needs CAR T cell therapy, he or she has refractory leukemias or lymphomas that are really not, that the chemo and the radiation has really not worked for them, right? So when we are talking about CAR Ts, yes, you have these T cells which are armed with these CARs, which are able to kill these leukemia cells, but what you really need is a proliferation of these cells inside the body, and also persistence of these cells inside the body when you have infused them. And that is how you actually get a patient into remission, and the patient is in remission for a longer time if the persistence of these CAR T cells is longer. I had a small video, but I guess it's not working. So really, this graph here shows the timeline, the key milestones in the development of CAR T cell therapy. As you can see, it started in the 1980s, late 1980s and 1990s, where we knew how to synthetically make TCRs. But really, the breakthrough happened in the 2011 when the first 3 adult patients of leukemia were treated with the second generation CAR T. In 2012, this was the first pediatric patient with leukemia who was treated at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and she remains cancer-free for 13 years now without any bone marrow transplant. And since then, it's been, it's the field is growing rapidly. In 2017, US FDA gave the approval for Novartis CAR T cell treatment, CD19 directed, which was named Kymriah. And now we have multiple FDA approvals for these CAR Ts. And in the 2021, now we have FDA approval for another CAR T for multiple myeloma. And the field is growing very rapidly. And here, these are the 6 FDA-approved CAR T cell therapies that are available for B-cell malignancies as well as multiple myeloma. But I just want to highlight that these are all commercially available. They are all centralized manufactured. So you have to send the cell of the patient to these companies or to the GMP facilities, which are central. And then these cells are then transported back to the hospital. Having said that, local manufacturing has not been yet possible. But I'm proud and happy to represent Abu Dhabi Stem Cell Center, where we were actually able to locally produce and manufacture CAR T cell therapy for a pediatric patient who was 10 years old, had relapsed refractory B-cell ALL, and we were able to put the leukemia in remission, and he's doing well. So I will just walk you through this case. This was a 6-year-old boy who was initially diagnosed with standardist B-cell ALL, CNS1, no testicular involvement, normal karyotyping, and had translocation 1221. He was started on chemotherapy as per the protocol that we usually use. It's a COC protocol, and he had excellent response to treatment with no disease at the end of induction chemotherapy. He completed his treatment in May 2022. And he was doing well until November 2022, when he had a combined bone marrow and testicular relapse, which was consistent with the same leukemia that he had before. And so he was started on chemotherapy as per a relapse protocol. Unfortunately, this time he did not respond that well. He continued to have the disease. Then he received targeted therapy with blinatumomab. Again, did not put his disease into remission. He continued to have a minimal residual disease of 3.6%. And because he had a testicular relapse as well, he underwent left orchirectomy, and the histopath was consistent with leukemic infiltration. Because his disease was not in remission, he then went on to receive fludarabine-based chemotherapy, but had refractory disease, unfortunately, and the bone marrow had about 15% loss. So in summary, now you have a 10-year-old boy who has relapsed refractory B-cell ALL, which has not responded to multiple lines of chemo, targeted agents, salvage chemotherapy, and we found out that his disease was still CD19 positive. So, like I had shown you, what we do for CAR T manufacturing, we collected the T cells of this boy on the 2nd of August, and it was sent to our GMP lab at ADSCC for CAR T cell manufacturing. He received lymphodepleting chemotherapy starting on like a week later, and the T cells actually were manufactured within 12 days, and the infusion happened on the 14th of August. So this is the day 0. We got these cells, and this is the infusion of the cells. And here is a timeline. This is a busy slide, but I will walk you through it. So here on the x-axis, you see this is the temperature, and we consider 37.5 as normal. These are the number of days. So day 0 is when he actually got his CAR T cells here. Shortly after getting the CAR T cells, he started having high-grade fevers. And we know that this can happen after we give CAR T cells. There's a phenomenon called cytokine release syndrome, which happened. And so there are guidelines on how to manage CRS. And so he was given tocilizumab, and whenever he got the tocilizumab, his fever would subside, but then it would come back again. After 2 days, on day 3 and day 4, his fever subsided and he didn't have any fever. But again, on day 5 onwards, he started having high-grade fevers, and at the same time, he developed tachypnea, hypoxia, and hypotension, and he was transferred to the PICU. Now he was, there are gradings of CRS. He was in grade 3 CRS. He was on norepinephrine. He was on high-flow mesocanula. And of course, he was neutropenic. So he was on broad-spectrum antibiotics and antifungals. And because of this grade 3 CRS, he was started on steroids and also anakinra. This lasted for about 5 days, following which his fever started to subside, and he remained afebrile from day 10 onwards. And luckily, he did not have any neurotoxicity, which has been described in patients who get CAR T cells. And this slide here shows, the levels of interleukin-6 and ferritin, which correlated. They were high while he was in the cytokine release syndrome, and then they subsided when the fever had subsided as well. And this is his X-ray on day +1 when he was well, and day +6 when he had to be transferred to the ICU when he was tachypnic and hypoxic. So we know that CRS is a complication that is common in patients who receive CAR T cell infusion, and it happens because of T cell expansion, and it may be necessary for the efficacy of T cells. And really, the grading is higher if you have high tumor burden. So here, if you have a higher tumor burden, you will more likely to have grade 3 or grade 4 CRS. And I'm not going to go through the grading here, but there are established guidelines, both from Europe and from US, that talk about what should be the grading and then how to treat them. And so back to our case. So now our child was out of PICU. He on day +11 was off oxygen, of inotropes. His counts had started to show increasing trend, and he was shifted back to the room. On day 18 from the CAR T cell infusion, he was actually discharged home. We did a bone marrow test on him on day 30, 60, and 90, and his MRD, which is minimal residual disease, had now turned negative, which was never negative before he got the CAR T cells. So he was a refractory case of ALL, but luckily after CAR T cells, his disease had come back to remission. And with that, this is our whole team. I know we are short on time, but just want to mention all the clinicians or our lab technologists who have helped us, all the subspecialties, our pharmacists, our nurses, without whom this was not possible. And this is when he was discharged. This is all our clinical team. And then just a slide about, we talk about CAR-T in malignancy, especially, the targeted ones, especially if you have a CD19 or a CD22 target. That's all, out there. We're working on it. But what about CAR-T beyond cancer? So there is a lot of work that is going on in the non-malignant areas as well. There are CAR-T cells that are being developed and applied for lupus and autoimmune diseases. These patients get steroids for a very, very long time. Now, things are changing. They might not be getting steroids for a long time. If we get these CAR-T cells out there for these patients, it will be a game changer. Similarly, there are CAR-Ts or engineered T cells for targeting cardiac fibrosis. There are CAR-Ts for infectious diseases as well. There are people working on hepatitis B, hepatitis C, HIV, CMV to treat all these infections with CAR-T now. And finally, there are reports of CAR-T cells being used in refractory antisynthetase syndrome. With that, thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to meet you. My name is Sheikh. I'm a professor at the International Healthcare Center of Seoul National University Pundang Hospital. It's a great honor for me to participate in this wonderful conference. So today my topic is cloud EMR and our experience in creating in our hospital e-ICU system. This is the contents of my presentation. Now cloud technologies is being used in many fields, and we started to use in our hospital cloud EMR a few years ago. So what is the advantages of cloud EMR? Scalability. We can scale our EMR system to accommodate growing healthcare. Of course, cost savings is one of the most main advantages of cloud EMR, and also accessibility and collaboration and information sharing among healthcare professionals. What are key features of cloud EMR, including digital health records, data analytics, and telemedicine integration. So for successful EMR implementation, very important things are good assessment and planning, migration and integration with other healthcare systems, and of course, training and support to ensure smooth adoption of healthcare professionals. Also is a very important thing is data security and the confidential problems. So cloud EMR should be integrated with other systems, EMR, EHR integration, medical devices, and patient portal integration. So, and now a little bit about our ICU system. As you know, to the coronavirus pandemic, medical systems in each countries have suffered many difficulties, and in particular, there has been a lack of manpower and financial resources for severe patients. Seoul National University Pundang Hospital has begun developing a remote intensive care unit monitoring and telemedicine collaboration system. We call it e-ICU. It is expected that the system will help efficiently utilize scarce medical resources in national crisis situations, such as the resurgence of infectious diseases. The lack of medical personnel dedicated to critically ill patients and the variations in the level of intensive care treatment were representative difficulties in the COVID-19 response process. But the development of this system will enable main base hospitals to monitor the intensive care units of patients' partners hospitals and provide non-face-to-face collaborative care. So as a first step, we established and operated an integrated control center by connecting the 8 intensive care units operated by our hospital. And And then we saw good results. So this is a command center. So you can see how we manage the running all 6 ICUs in our hospital. So after that, we saw a good results. So we created a non-disruptive treatment system with partner hospitals in the region. So now we running this program with 3 regional hospitals, and additional pilot operations are currently underway to collect meaningful data for internal effectiveness evaluation. So as a conclusion, various technology is applied in digital healthcare now. So cloud EMR brings a paradigm shift in healthcare, empowering organizations to deliver superior care through scalability, accessibility, and advanced functionalities. However, still gaps exist between technology and medical application, which needs more comprehensive cooperation between the industry and healthcare providers. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Kim, for a wonderful presentation. I'd now like to invite Dr. Mark Zhang to come to the floor, please. Dr. Zhang is from Brigham and Women's Hospital in the United States and is going to give a presentation on the American Medical Extended Reality Association. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. MacKinnon, and thank you to SKSH for your hospitality, and Dr. Jheon and the Smart Hospital Alliance Health on Cloud for hosting this incredible event, coordinating this event. I see that there's a big white screen here. It's loading. Okay. Perfect. Well, actually, this is perfect. So my background is I'm the former Associate Chief Medical Information Officer for Brigham and Women's Hospital, where I focused on digital innovation. And I've spent almost the last decade, almost my entire medical career, really working on the intersection of technology, healthcare, and emerging trends. Clinically, I'm a palliative care physician and also a clinical informaticist. We actually have a really ingrained saying in clinical informatics, which is really the field of medicine that's at the intersection of technology and healthcare. And that's, you can't have a clinical informatics conference without technical difficulties. So this is perfect. This actually is exactly what you would expect. And I'm also an instructor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. The reason why I'm here is about 2.5 years ago, my leadership at Mass General Brigham asked my team to explore emerging technologies for our organization. And as we started looking, we wanted to pick technology to kind of further understand. And at the time, about 2.5 years ago, extended reality was becoming more and more of a big thing. You know, Facebook had just changed its name to Meta. There were all these kind of reports talking about the metaverse becoming the next big trillion-dollar industry. And we didn't know anything about it. We really didn't know anything about how it would affect healthcare. So we started looking. We looked internally at Mass General Brigham. And we also looked across the industry to better learn more about the technology and the implications for healthcare. And what we saw 2.5 years ago at MGB was pretty astounding. We actually found over 20 projects across the hospital, across our hospitals, working in XR. And as we looked across the whole industry, what we saw was that that signal was actually just prevalent across the industry. There was all this interest in XRs burgeoning. And also importantly, what we saw was that, at least at Mass General Brigham, no one knew that anyone else was doing anything in XR. So it was very silent. So as we started looking into this, what we created was a new kind of a service called Next Up Extended Reality, which was our community at Mass General Brigham to kind of break down those silos for extended reality, bring people together, learn more, and just kind of work towards advancing this technology. And as I started thinking about this, I became more and more convinced that extended reality and these emerging technologies would really become not only the future of medicine, but also for our society as a whole. So you know, I'm not one to kind of fall across hard challenges. I was one of the first clinical informatics fellows in the United States. I was so early that we actually didn't have a organization for the fellows, and I had the privilege of creating the Association of Clinical Informatics Fellows back when I was a fellow, which ultimately became the official organization for CI fellows across the United States with over 600 members and alumni. So I knew creating these societies, these communities was possible. So as we were doing this with Next Up at National Brigham, about a year and a half ago, I realized that in order to really kind of create this future, really support this future that clearly was happening for healthcare, XR needed a medical society. So what I created and is the American Medical Extended Reality Association, or AMXRA. We are the first kind of nonprofit medical society dedicated to medical extended reality. Why did we do this? Because medicine is always evolving. It's crazy to think that 20th century medicine, the fields that define the 20th century, will be the same in the 21st century. If you think about it, this is our 1923. What will this century actually define? Well, clearly, I think new specialties and disciplines are going to be created from emerging technologies and trends. So some of these are going to be things like, and I just wanted to show back in 1923, you know, all of these ACP, American College of Physicians, was essentially 8 years old. So these pillars didn't exist. These are going to be some of the future medical specialties, I think. AI, climate health, advanced robotics, personalized medicine. I would humbly say extended reality will be one of them. And I think it's going to become an essential 21st century medical specialty. And AMXRA is going to be the society to kind of provide that. That's what we are trying to do here, is really create and define the future of medicine with creating this society. So our mission is really to advance the science and practice of medical extended reality. And we're doing that through advancing care delivery, scientific investigation, innovation, education, advocacy, and community. We are only a little bit over a year old. We're just beginning. We have over 280 members across the globe, primarily in the United States, but our members are truly interprofessional and interdisciplinary. So we have physicians, we have nurses, we have technologists, we have entrepreneurs. Our members represent some of the leaders in academic medicine, industry, government, and we're just beginning. As I said, we just started back in October of 2022, and we had our first general membership meeting in November. In January, because we are the Medical Society for Extended Reality, we opened up our digital space in Meta Horizon Worlds, and we historically have held meet and greets every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. We got our 501c3, which is our nonprofit status, in February, which is, I think, a major milestone, because in order to create the proper kind of society, it has to be based on proper foundations. And I think nonprofit is a very important one. And in March of 2023, we really publicly announced this society at two of the leading kind of US-based medical extended reality conferences, IVRA in Philadelphia, and then in March, at the end of March, we announced AMXRA at Virtual Medicine 23 as the new home for MXR professionals. And we've seen astounding growth so far. So by May, we had welcomed our 200th founding member, and we continue to kind of move forward. Most importantly, we are really pushing the field forward by creating the very first journal dedicated to medical extended reality. We created JMXR, the Journal of Medical Extended Reality, in partnership with our colleagues at Marianne Lieber Publishing to really be the journal of record for this new field. How do you create a medical society or specialty? You need a society, you need a journal, you need a symposium, and that's how you create the lighthouses to create the field. That's what we're trying to do. What are our core initiatives? We have three. Be the professional home for medical extended reality. This is actually Commander Jeanette Arancibia, who represents some of our military kind of membership within AMXRA, and they are truly leading using some of these technologies, both for the health of their populations, but also transferring that to others within the field. So we're trying to break down silos by fostering community. I think Dr. Jeong mentioned his work creating kind of new certificate and possibilities using XR for surgery. I think that's incredible. And what AMXRA is trying to do is build off of that as well and build some of those early stage training and certification options for folks who want to learn more about this new field. We also want to enable leadership opportunities for our members and also award and recognize members who have dedicated their careers to medical extended reality. We really want to be the professional society. That's how we're going to do it. The second initiative is really advancing MXR through education. And we educate the public, our professional peers, and also eventually we hope to educate our regulators. And this is actually a wonderful kind of public event we held in a metaverse. This is we had an addictionologist present about addiction. And what's wonderful about hosting these events inside of an extended reality or metaverse space is you can create these impossible scenes that would cost millions, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars to create in real life. It only costs a little bit of time and some developers to build in the metaverse. So this was a representation of the brain, and you can see this nucleus accumbens, and there was this highway, and you can see in the upper corner this blue dopamine, and this whole thing is animated. The dopamine was on a super highway hitting the nucleus accumbens, and as the presenter talked about addiction, they had a switch they could press. And all of a sudden, when they wanted to represent addiction, they would press the button, and all of these dopamine particles would just fly everywhere in the screen. And it was a sight to see. It was a wonderful piece of education. As we represent and educate our professional groups, our peers, things like talking at places like this. But we've also talked at places like the American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association. Our goal is to make sure that people know that medical extended reality is a field, that it's early, it's growing, and we intend to legitimize it. The last is really advancing the science of MXR. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm very proud and excited to say that we were able to create the very first journal dedicated to this field. It's an open access journal. Dr. Brendan Spiegel, who is world-renowned, a leader in XR from Cedars-Sinai, is the editor-in-chief. We have a global editorial board representing some of the leaders in medical extended reality. And we are releasing our first peer-reviewed articles in January of 2024. With that, I just want to tell you a little bit of our goals for the next year. We are only about a year and a half old. This is just the beginning. So what we are trying to do, our goal and our mission is to establish this as a field. So 2024 is about sustaining and growing AMXRA, sustaining and growing the journal, creating an introductory course for medical extended reality, because what we need is more people like you all to learn about this field, be excited, help contribute to it. And then partnering with global leaders to advance the specialty together. So with that, I just want to thank you all. And if you want to learn more, if you go to www.amxra.org.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang, for a most illuminating presentation. I, for one, will try and join you in your virtual space on a Tuesday. I will try with the time zone to try and get there. I would advocate people do the same. So our next presentations are going to be video based. So we'll just take a quick second just to change to a video. So our next presenter.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Todd Chang. I am speaking to you from Los Angeles, California, from Children's Hospital Los Angeles and the University of Southern California. And I am the medical director and the research director for the Children's Hospital Los Angeles Las Madrinas Simulation Center. Thank you for listening to this. This is the talk about the metaverse at CHLA, especially in the future. Our objectives today are to just provide you some context of care in LA, as well as to introduce the role of the Las Madrinas Simulation Center for the metaverse. And this is where we are. So this is a map of North America. Up here is Canada, United States, and Mexico. And we're here on the southwest corner in California. And Los Angeles is a pretty large city. It has about 10 million people, about 2.1 million of whom are children. And we are here in the middle of the city. And if you've been to Los Angeles before, our hospital is very close to the Hollywood sign, the Griffith Observatory, and the Hollywood Walk of Fame to the west of us. Within our hospital, we have the CHLA Las Madrinas Center, which is a charity-funded organization for Las Madrinas that has provided a lot of funding for us to build a state-of-the-art simulation center here. And this is one of the views from Simulation Room 4. We have 4 large rooms where we can conduct simulations with a lot of technology and a one-way mirror. So this is an example of an ECMO, extracorporeal membranous oxygenation simulation. And we have a fair amount of specialty in doing moulage, which is the art of making things even more real with makeup and props for mannequin-based simulations. This is an example of an impalement simulation where a tree branch is located within the child's chest. In addition, we have a fair amount of 3D printed and other moulage capabilities to simulate large-scale surgical simulations like this for gastroschisis and omphalocele. Finally, we are moving forward with a lot of physical and haptic simulations that allow us to do procedures, and you work with our hands for our proceduralists and our surgeons. It takes a fairly large, skilled team of people who run the various simulations, keep up with the technology, and develop new innovative solutions. And now we are entering at our infancy the metaverse. And first we need to define that the metaverse is about the digital experience that integrates both the simulated and the real experience of medicine. And in fact, some people have actually targeted as Mediverse instead of the metaverse. We've been in the metaverse since the virtual reality days. This was an article published in 2018 before the pandemic, and we have been doing VR training for various physicians within the hospital. This is our virtual reality room, which we can convert into a conference room if needed, and that has saved a lot of time and space here. And we feature virtual reality from Tectra Signum that you can see here for bystander CPR on the left, as well as other software from Soma Reality, where we're doing an active research study that's funded for neonatal resuscitation. And one of the things that I wanted to cover before we move to the future is really the cost. There's supposed to be financial incentive for the metaverse, but there's often very little financial incentive for medical training. So this is how we actually conceptualize it at the Las Madrinas Center. The cost model for mannequin-based simulations is fairly simple. There's a bit of development and implementation, purchasing the equipment and mannequins, and each time you run it, you run a cost. So every single session, you have labor costs, equipment costs as you move the mannequin back and forth. The cost model for digital and metaverse items in the simulation sphere actually has a very high development cost in the beginning, but then the costs are recouped or lessened or mitigated over time as you keep using the same software over and over again. And this is where you're going to see relative cost savings, not up in the front. This front part will be very scary to a lot of people who are worried about the finances, but really the cost savings is in the later years. So here's an example of how the cost savings work. This is a published paper in 2019 from Farah and al. They are located in the United States, Wayne University in Cincinnati, and they compare the costs of live exercises for evacuation, so practicing how to get patients out of a burning hospital safely, versus the same exercise done in a virtual setting using VR headsets. And what you're going to find is in year one, the development costs are extremely high for VR. So to orient you in this table, the total cost for the live exercise simulations are here, and the total cost for the virtual reality simulations are below. And in the red circle here is the average cost per trainee based on the live simulation, $229, or the virtual reality simulation, which required a lot of programming development, $328. So looking at the first year, the virtual reality or the metaverse is not cost effective. However, when you extrapolate to the next years, year 2 and year 3, you're going to see more and more cost savings because you do not need development costs in year 2 and year 3. So while my camera is blocking this view, I'm sorry about that, the dollar costs go from $168 to $119, which is far less than the average cost for trainees for the live exercises. So this is the important part about revenue, cost savings, or even profit if you're looking for metaverse in the medical training sphere, is that this has to be a future focused longevity of various products. It can't be in year 1. Here's a comparison in case you don't use US dollars of how much funds are required for virtual reality versus live simulation. Again, over 3 years in this particular paper. So what we do at CHLA for the metaverse is to really create a digital experience that allows people to experience a healthy amount of stress. We know that ER doctors, which I am one of them, emergency medicine, experience a lot of stress in their work. And when we measure stress levels in terms of salivary cortisol levels, they remain very, very high throughout the entirety of the shift, especially when they have an active resuscitation. So what we wanted to do was to actually study this and measure it and then mitigate it within our digital portfolio. This is an example of a video game that we have developed with Breakaway Games, where on an iPad or a computer, you can actually digitally make decisions on patients who actively are decompensating or getting better. And this allows you to experience a bit of the time stress and time management that you would otherwise have in a real setting. We've also been able to do research studies that measure cognitive load, like this one with Aptima, and we've been able to partner with other organizations such as Oculus from Facebook, Oculus from Meta back in the day, and collaborate in programs called VR for Health. So this is a big sphere of work, and these are some of the products that we've been able to develop. Through this, we've understood that using virtual reality and using the metaverse for resuscitation training and what we call stress inoculation, getting used to the stress of the healthcare system, is actually a very feasible and potentially cost-effective solution for training. In that presentation, here are my contact information, and I really thank you for your time and happy to hear from questions.
Thank you, Dr. Chang, for a great presentation there. We're now going on to our next video presentation.
Hello, I'm Carlos Gomez Restrepo, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine at Javeriana University, located at Bogota, Colombia. It is a pleasure to meet you. I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Professor Sanghoon Jheon for extending an invitation to us to participate in the distinguished 4th International Healthcare Metaverse Conference. It is an honor to contribute to this session.
It's an honor for me to present my country, Colombia. Colombia is strategically situated, nestled in the northwest corner of South America, sharing borders with 5 countries, and within Colombia's vibrant heart lies Bogota, its capital and largest city. In Colombia, at present, we have 50 million people, 20% of them poor, 7 to 8 million displaced persons, low numbers of medical doctors in some Colombian regions, and small numbers of specialized doctors. Great technology needs, however, we are improving in life expectancy with 79 years. However, with more chronic diseases, mental and cognitive problems. The Pontificia Universidad Javeriana, a private institution, boasts 18 faculties, 23,000 students, and over 230 programs offering a global and interdisciplinary education. Its Faculty of Medicine, established in 1942, provides 47 academic programs and 39 medical specialties serving more than 1,700 students, and commitment to delivering comprehensive medical education. Celebrated of a decade of accredited high-quality education, our first in Colombia Faculty of Medicine consists of 14 departments and 2 institutes collaboratively working with the top-ranked Hospital Universitario San Ignacio, forming an integrated academic health center. The hospital, acknowledged as one of Colombia's finest by Newsweek in March 2022, operates alongside the Institute of Human Genetics and the 20-year Experience Institute of Aging, which is deeply aligned with the hospital geriatrics unit and the Center of Memory and Cognition Intellectus. Together, this robust alliance is steadfast in its commitment to driving academic excellence and pioneer the future of healthcare in Colombia. The Pontificia Universidad Javeriana is excited to announce a groundbreaking project in collaboration with Korea, aimed at revolutionizing healthcare accessibility and service in Colombia. Through a joint feasibility study on teleconsulting and medical education transformation, we aspire to implement a sophisticated virtual hospital and medical education platform. This significant venture is meticulously designed to facilitate unparalleled access to healthcare service and management of complex diseases for the Colombian population, particularly those residing in rural areas. By leveraging advanced technology and the expertise of international medical consultants in tandem with the invaluable support of local hospitals and global tech partners, we are committed to not only improving but also empowering the Colombian healthcare landscape. With a strong commitment to improving healthcare accessibility and outcomes, the hospital plays a crucial role in connecting remote communities to specialized medical care. The Simulation Center, additionally, as a pedagogical strategy, is a pioneer in Colombia in undergraduate, postgraduate, and continuing education. With this collaboration, it is also expected to further strengthen medical education through cutting-edge technology that address the challenge of medical education in the world.
This opportunity allows us to showcase our initiative's significant contributions to healthcare, and we eagerly anticipate engaging with experts and attendees to explore the fascinating intersection of the metaverse and healthcare. Thank you very much for this esteemed opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez Restrepo. This video is entitled Generative AI Meets the Metaverse from Ki Dong-bae from KT in Korea.
Hello, I am Ki Dong-bae, director at KT. I am honored to have the opportunity to present at a conference attended by leading industry experts from around the world today. I have prepared a lecture material on the topic of generative AI meet Metaverse. I hope it will be a great opportunity to look into the market of generative AI and the Metaverse and gain insight. The table of contents is as follows. So let's start the talk with the Metaverse market trend. First of all, during the pandemic, everyone was excited about the Metaverse, but they soon gave way to generative AI. I don't think generative AI took the opportunity. Instead, generative AI will revive the Metaverse, which itself will be further enhanced by the Metaverse. Additionally, the popularization of wearable XR device will drive the Metaverse into a fully immersive world we dream of. So, what is the reason for the decline in the popularity of the Metaverse? The reason is that big tech companies, which we are familiar with, have a reduced Metaverse business that did not generate as much revenue as they expected. Although companies have introduced Metaverse in various fields, there was no actual profit, and related devices, such as VR and XR, are still heavy and inconvenient, so they could not be widely distributed. We all want to know what's the next in the post-mobile era. One of the strongest candidates would be an XR device, and a device that breaks through the technologically barrier to deliver a satisfying user experience will definitely take the cake. Also, it will need to be priced at a level that users can afford for it to become popular. So, what is the prospect of generative AI? Generative AI has been steadily gaining interest since the beginning of this year with the advent of ChatGPT and the introduction of MS Copilot, and is currently at a peak. We expect it to remain high for the time beginning, unless something changes. Generative AI is one of the key factors that make the investment in Metaverse so valuable. Just as big tech companies like YouTube and TikTok have been very successful because of the free content that users create, generative AI will make the Metaverse successful because it will dramatically lower the cost of the producing the 3D content used in the Metaverse. Babylon, an AI chatbot service in the UK, and IBM's Watson failed in the market due to accuracy issues. Recently, many tech companies have been researching improving accuracy through generative AI. Also, it's more accurate than past AI healthcare solution and can help doctors improve their practice. Next, I am gonna talk about how generative AI apply to Metaverse. Now, as everybody knows, you just type in text and then generative AI will create any image, code, audio, video, or even 3D model you want. This generated content will augment the reality of the Metaverse, and eventually rich 3D content will revolutionize the user experience. These days, 3D engine companies are integrating generative AI into their development toolkits. Recently, coding technology has been evolving gradually by meeting generative AI. Roblox uses conversational AI to generate the game code and even create assets used in the game. Let's take a look at digital twin modeling this time. NVIDIA can be named as a leading company in this field. NVIDIA has several solutions for industrial digital twin for things, robots, and warehouse. In particular, Omnibus Audio 2-Face provides access to generative AI programming interface that generated realistic facial animation and gesture from audio file alone. There have been some interesting attempts recently. Google introduced Music LM, a model that generated music from text description and the way you want it. Next, let me explain about KT's Metaverse application case. KT is making various efforts according to the changing environment. The first case is the Metaverse platform developed by KT, which is called Geniverse. There are two main concepts. The first is my own world. The second is a platform that inspires content fandom and provide use with the AI testbed. where anybody can test the AI home twin generation, chatting with the AI NPC, and generating avatar message, image, and motion. Here are 3 AI-powered features in Geniverse. The first is AI meme, where users can generate customized avatar message, image, and motion contents with the help of AI. The second is a Metaverse home that is a twin of the user's real home. The third is to be able to have a daily conversation with the AI NPCs. The second one is to explain our motion AI technology. KT's motion AI technology extracts 3D matrix data from the human body through a 2D camera in real time. KT's motion AI technology measures similarity through a 3D-based similarity algorithm. Therefore, it extracts a person joint position from the user's 2D video without another device, convert it to 3D in real time. It can be used for home fitness, dance, game, rehabilitation, and so on. Today, patients have a diverse way to do rehabilitation at home without visiting a hospital. But KT's motion AI technology, it's possible to extract 3D motion with a general smartphone in real time. It doesn't matter if it's on iOS or Android. We can make a rehabilitation program more convenient for patients to treatment at home. One of the most difficult area of motion capture is dance movement extraction, like cover dance. KT's AI technology accuracy is more than 98% accuracy. As the 3D mesh data and joints over the whole body quickly, we guess this technology can be expanded to the medical industry. Now, let's conclude. The Metaverse market is expected to take another leap forward with generative AI, and it is expected to be utilized diversely in the medical field in the future. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jeong, for a very intriguing presentation on generative AI. I'd like now to invite Mr. Mike Dowding to give the final presentation this morning entitled Empowering Healthcare Transformation Project.
Okay. Hi, everyone. And again, thank you for all the presentations you've seen today. A lot of everybody that we asked here today in the presentation is about, they all have amazing solutions. Some of them are in hospital and traditional means, but each their own, they're all innovative. So we're trying to find a way to share that. Sharing innovation is really difficult. A lot of people are doing a lot of great things, but actually sharing that is quite difficult. So you could be here in the UAE, or you could be in Korea, or you can be in LA, you could be anywhere. How do you share it? How do you get this innovation out and get people using it together? So, which leads me to empowering Colombian healthcare. So our mission, as Dr. Sanghoon mentioned earlier, is universal healthcare coverage. Everyone, no matter where you are, you should be entitled to receive quality healthcare. That is not always easy. People cannot afford it. They don't have means, or they don't know where to look. Most people, if you ask them, what's the best hospital in the UK, they may not know. If you ask, what's the best hospital in Canada, they don't know. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to get there. They don't have any connection. So we're trying to fix things like that. And if you go to a lot of emerging countries, which we've been going recently, we travel around the world quite a bit, you'll also learn that a lot of people are very enthusiastic about learning. They just don't have access to education. As you may, this slide may be recognized as before, but our vision is simple. We want to have a metaverse as you will, where it's not just metaverse. Don't think of Mark Zuckerberg. Don't think of all just metaverse. It's digital technology. Anything that can help improve a patient's access to quality healthcare is really important. Metaverse kind of ties it all together and gives it a way of connecting everyone. Cloud Hospital, again, very similar. In this presentation, I'll show you, we're going to use it for a little bit different. We're not going to actually try to treat the patient. We're going to use this for actually advising the doctors treating the patient. We're going to try to instill best practices so they know how to deliver a proper consultation, how to read a chart, how to go through an EMR. These are the things that lack in certain countries if you don't have access to it to a certain university. Not everyone is entitled to go to Harvard or the best school. Some just go to wherever they have or whatever locally, but there is no knowledge sharing platform. So how do we do that? This is kind of a roadmap of how the Smart Hospital Alliance began. So before we got into a lot of the technology sharing, it was really about the network. You can't go anywhere in the medical industry without a network. It's very, very difficult, especially locally. If you have two hospitals in one area, sometimes they can be seen as competitors and not really working together. You need a way of connecting them so they share resources and they actually do something. In the case of business admin, the administration may not approve financing for POC because the hospital doesn't know how they're going to make it back. So how do you do that? You share resources and team. So Dr. Sanghoon, again, the founder of HOC and the heartbeat of everything we do, he's also the president of the Asian Society for Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery, which basically puts together all the best heart and lung doctors throughout Asia. He's a former director of Seoul National University Bundong Hospital, very innovative, first paperless hospital in Korea, possibly one of the first in the world for EMR, but always behind innovation. They only have Dr. Eun-Sung Park. He is actually the HOC lead in Korea. He is a thoracic surgeon by trade. However, he's a big nursing educator. He's written books and travels along and does a lot of coursing. Education, he's his driver. We have Juan Carlos Kaiser, who is actually the former ambassador of Colombia to Korea, which actually sparked a lot of this project that I'm about to show you and introduced a lot of what we're going to do. You have Dr. Anis Ahmed. He's in Singapore. He's the former president of the Robotics Society of Singapore, where basically he puts together some of the most innovative people in that area, but he's also a nursing educator throughout Southeast Asia. We have Dr. Wang Jae Lee from Seoul National University Bundong Hospital, who's operations and driving a lot of what we're doing and making sure that everything's on point. And then obviously, as you've seen before, we have Dr. Ralph MacKinnon. He is actually from the Manchester University Foundation Trust. Basically, it's the largest teaching NHS trust in all of Europe, I believe, possibly, definitely in the UK. But essentially what you have is a collaborative network. Now behind them, there's many, many more doctors that I can't put on this slide. And this is how it all really began. Before we got into technology sharing, we put together a network so we could actually do what we're going to do today and show you. Together, that formed up the strong R&D network we call the Smart Hospital Alliance. So this is, again, a slide you may have seen, but essentially it's about sharing. It's a nonprofit organization where hospitals can choose to collaborate on certain projects. You may introduce a project or you can choose to collaborate. You can actually look inside your hospital and see what your strength is, and you can potentially take that and share that with hospitals in other countries around the world so that they don't have access. So for example, for CAR T cell therapy, you could put together a package and you could share that with all the hospitals through what I'm about to show you, because they don't have access to it. You're doing great things, but you should share it. People should know how to do it and how they can incorporate it. It's hard when there's no means. Most doctors actually go to YouTube for videos, or they go to LinkedIn, or they go to society meetings. Outside that, there's not much more available. So this was back in August where Dr. Seung and Jeong and myself, we flew to Colombia and we basically did the launching ceremony for the project we're about to take on. We've been working on this for more than a year, and a lot of it's been around regulations, contracts, and making sure we can actually do a good job. So the primary objectives, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel on this one. We're trying to start off softly. We want it to prove to be successful. So we're trying to create a system where everything is reliable and interoperable. Partners are very, very important for this. We're not trying to build everything ourselves. We're trying to work and give access to all the best technology there is around the world. User-friendly, we want doctors, especially those that are not tech savvy, to be familiar with it and easy to use, because if it's not, they're not going to use it. Strong cybersecurity. We're working very closely with regulators in the hospitals that we're partnering with to make sure we tick all the boxes and we don't miss anything. Accessible for multiple devices. We're not going to do a headset. We're not going to do just a PC, phone. We're trying to make everything very accessible so that it doesn't matter what you have or what the country has, people can use it. It's got to be reliable and trusted and effective and non-intrusive. We don't want it to be a hindrance. We want people to actually want to use it and like it. So this is the study as it would be. So as they mentioned before, when I say Health on Cloud, it means the Smart Hospital Alliance, it means the platforms, it means everything we can basically throw into the project. We have 2 regional core hospitals. In this case, we have Haryana University's hospital, where they will act as a regional core hub, and they will pick 2 rural hospitals, primarily in the Amazon regions, where they really, really need it. And on the other side, we have Santa Fe. It's the #1 hospital in Colombia, very high tech, and the same. They've been doing a lot of work with telemedicine and other things, so they will actually go out in other regions and try to connect. So because we can't treat them as global experts due to regulations, we will advise them and work with them as the regional hubs. So we're trying to satisfy all the key stakeholders in this, because everyone needs to benefit. It can't be one-sided. So we're trying to balance it out so everybody wins. And in each case, you can see here, we'll have 1 project manager. For this project, it's myself, and then we'll have a technology lead, a medical lead, and a regulatory legal lead. And the same for each of the university and the hospital. We've got to tick all the boxes before we move on. And if this is successful, it can grow. So stage 1 is teleconsulting. So partners are really big on this. So what we're trying to do is basically think of it like a Zoom, where you can access the latest technologies and share your screen. We're not going to send any confidential information or applications. What we're going to do is create a network where an actual proper consultation can be done depending on the doctor's needs. To do this, the #1, I guess, difficulty would be system integration and Wi-Fi access. We have LG CNS, which is actually the IT arm of LG. They actually have an office in Bogota, where we were quite lucky and staff to actually help us in this. But we'll make sure that Wi-Fi works. We need to be connected first, which is obviously the #1 concern. Having a major partner that can pull this off is very, very important. We have a lot of innovative apps. Elvis, for example, here. They are a neurology app out of Palo Alto, and they are doing some groundbreaking work, but they don't have access normally to hospitals overseas. So we'll introduce them to Colombia. They'll work together to culturalize the application, make sure it fits local regulations, and it can be used together. Instead of the hospital building their own, they can work together to our network and actually get it ready and use it for different consultations. And then we have some major global leading partners like Sanghoon, which is a major Korean lab partner, where they're going to offer their services to make sure that we can give proper consultations. Essentially, we're trying to bridge everybody and bring it all together. So the 2 main subject areas are teleconsulting and online education. We're not focusing on the basics. We're going for severe diseases, cardiology, oncology, pediatric neurology, things that are difficult to access in countries like this, because that's where the improvement needs to happen. Next is virtual medical education. So as you've seen before, this isn't actually a platform. So I sometimes call it the Netflix for healthcare, but it's more like an online university where videos can be uploaded and courses can actually be delivered. Here's a little video I'll show you.
Introducing MedTis, the e-learning platform for medical professionals and students. With MedTis, the learning becomes seamless and accessible for learners from subscribed organizations. MedTis offers a vast library of educational content from top medical experts and institutions, including surgical and nursing education videos. Some content is event presented in immersive 360-degree videos. But MedTis goes beyond content consumption. Managers can manage learners and assign courses with lectures, quizzes, and tests. Dive into these immersive courses, absorb captivating lectures, and test your knowledge. Your progress is tracked and shared with managers. Join our MedTis and unlock unlimited knowledge, collaboration, and growth.
So essentially, it's an online university, which gives you access to the tools you actually need. I just got back from the Philippines with Dr. Jeong, where he had a mission to go into basically the Philippines to educate 25 doctors on a new thoracic surgery procedure, where they brought in cadavers, and it was sponsored by medical device companies. It was quite a big cost and overtaking, but no prep. We flew in some of the world's leading surgeons, flew in, they trained one day, took a break, next day they trained and left. Now, did they learn as much as they could have? Maybe not, because it was kind of exciting and it was kind of dry. But imagine if they could have been studying a week or 2 before, looking through the procedure, watching videos, watching presentations, taking tests, and then they did it. And then they had follow-up questions after. the education would actually make a huge impact because you're actually prepping them and getting them ready. And that's what we're trying to do. We want, like, for example, this hospital could offer a course in Colombia and they could be training and they could be offering that globally. So anyone could actually attend. You don't have to fly around the world to do it. Now, we're not going to try to like take away from traditional methods. We want to complement it. So we basically, what we want to do is, instead of doing a fellowship for 1 year, leaving your hospital, maybe never returning, maybe you only need to come for a month because you've studied so much online and you've done these courses that you know what to ask and how to speed up the process. And in the process, you can also offer accredited programs, which is the most important. Not many people do these things just for kicks. They actually want to learn, but they also want to use what they learn and apply it and be recognized for that, all that hard work. So that's what we're trying to do. In some cases, it could be an accredited program we do, and in other cases, it could be an accredited program from an established university that just gives them basically the extension. We're trying to offer them the ability to work together. Again, this is some examples of it.
This is the definition of inflammation. Inflammation is a biological defense mechanism that removes inflammatory factors from infection and damaged tissues and returns the damaged area to normal. Biological defense mechanism.
So, actually, in that case, I skipped it, I can't go back. But in that case, that would be an idea of picture any doctor. You could basically take their AI avatar, insert it, have them speak 10 languages, and make it more pickable so students can actually get into it. They see the doctor, and they can actually talk about what's going to happen next, and they can understand it in their own native language instead of looking at overdubs. So we're basically trying to experiment with all the best technology to offer the best online service for education. The vision of what we're actually aiming to try to do in this Columbia project is this. Digitally, again, this is partners. We're trying to build the pipes. We're basically trying to connect the hospitals, the regions, and work with the proper governments and support staff to make all of this happen. And it takes a network, and then it takes a lot of leading applications. Things that can actually, I guess, be applicable in certain countries. Like, for example, EMR. There's no way you could use one EMR. Every country has their own version and how they do it. So you can screen share, and people can actually look at it and see what needs to be treated, or you can do MRI imaging, things like that. So as every new application comes in, it can be tested amongst the group. They can clinically trial it, they can use it, and they can utilize it for good, and they can share. It's all about knowledge sharing. It's about sharing the wealth and trying to find a way of doing that. In essence, it's almost like opening up a Google Play Store amongst hospitals so that they can offer and have access to the best education and applications. Right now, with the project we're doing in Colombia, we're also working for the greater expansion. We're soon hoping to start in Mexico and then move on to Brazil, where our ambition is really to bring as much as we can into the greater Latin America. So by adding these I guess, copy and paste model, if you will, we'll be able to deliver this anywhere because it's digital. As long as you have all the right partners that can make it happen, it's just copy and paste, add, connect, connect, connect. It's endless. Over a traditional brick and mortar, if you go into an emerging country, you're going to take 2 to 3 years to build that hospital, maybe 4. By the time it actually gets operational, and by the time they actually get doctors or try to people to work there and to train them, that's 5 years. What if you could do digital in 6 months once you have a really good model you can copy and paste? The impact would be enormous versus a traditional and much more cost effective. How many people could actually go through? In cases like one ask we had in Colombia recently was a midwife program, something very basic. But if they could have online courses to train in something like this, how many lives could be saved? And how much good could something like that do by just simply having access? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, for a superb presentation. So we come to the end of our first session, and we're going to take a 15-minute break now, during which time we can get some refreshments inside the house here, which is lovely. And we will then meet again online at 1 o'clock. Thank you so much.
Yeah, can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. Yeah.
Everyone there already. The first one is Santira XR, Jeremy Carter.
Hello, Mr. Jimmy. Do you want me to proceed?
Okay, shall I start? Because I can't see if everyone is there.
To give you a little, yes, to give you a little heads up, the team are currently upstairs waiting for internet access because we're at the hospital. So that's why they're not able to join. So that'd be the first 2 companies. So we'll just have to wait a minute. But if you would like to say anything while we wait.
Sure. No problem. Right. Okay, just prompt me when I can start when the companies are up, right? So I think the people online, I can see a few participants. Thanks for joining this conference, right? Held in Abu Dhabi. My name is Jim. I'm actually the head of health ecosystem with Zoka. Zoka is a Swiss company, 55 years old, right? I'm based in Singapore, that's why I joined online. But I did the same with Mike, right? And Health on Cloud in Singapore about 5 months ago. Yeah. So great to have everyone here. I'm going to be the host and moderator and also the judge for the Global Startup Pitch Competition, right? We have altogether 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 startups from UK, Sweden, Korea, Singapore, United States. Yeah, very widespread, right, across the 3 different continents for this global startup. Yeah. So thanks for joining. And I think every startup will have about 10 minutes to present their business plan and what their startup is about, right? And how it actually can add value and help the health ecosystem from the providers to the population, to the patient, and maybe even bigger than that. Yeah. Okay, great. And the judging criteria, right? Just a reminder, I think all the startups have been reminded, but the judging criteria, just a reminder, and also to let the audience know, right? We are looking at the team, right? So the team is evaluating their capability to achieve the objective as a team, right? So that you will show us, the startup will show us who is in their team, right? The second criteria is market validation, right? It means assessing your ability to identify and articulate the problem you aim to solve and the relevance to the current market, right? So there's market validation. The third criteria is on product, reviewing the innovativeness, the relevance to market problems, and the presence of a functional minimum viable product, the MVP, right? So it's not just a business concept, right? There's hopefully the MVP already, and how your product or your solution can solve the market problems, right? And how innovative it is, right? And the fourth criteria is business model, right? I think this is one of the very important thing that I always look at, yeah, because you can have the greatest product, but if your business model is not viable, right? And how do you actually scale? I think that's a challenge. Right, so I always remember I attended a forum or conference in Singapore recently, and the minister actually mentioned that there are many pilots in Singapore, right? And the pilots don't come from just aviation industry, it comes from the healthcare industry, right? Because there are so many pilots, right? So many innovations happening. But again, it's important to be scalable. Yeah. So in a business model, we will evaluate the existence of a viable model, the revenue potential, and the scalability. Last criteria, right, but not the least, is the soft skills, right? How visionary you are and how proficient are you presenting and selling your vision. Especially, I believe many startups actually do that to the VCs, right? So same thing, you have to do it here to convince the judges and also the audience that your product is the right one to go for, right? So that's all together the 5 criteria: the team, the market validation, the product, the business model, and the soft skills, right? And the judges will be ranking it based on 1 to 10, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. Okay, I hope that's clear to everyone on the judging criteria. Okay, so without further ado, we are already 10 minutes late to start, right? So without further ado, maybe I can invite the first startup, Sentira XR, presenting by Jeremy Carter. Are you online? Okay, not yet. Then in that case, we'll come back to Sentira XR. Maybe we go to the next startup, which I already see her face there. I hope she's physically there. Lorena Pioka from SYD, SYD, from the United Kingdom. And I believe Lorena is in Abu Dhabi, right, on site. Yeah.
Hello, thank you very much.
Okay, Lorena, your 10 minutes starts now. You want to start your pitch? Do you have a presentation slides? Yeah.
With great pleasure. I think can everyone see my screen? Super.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I am Lorena Puica and I'm the founder of SID. A bit of background, I've done about 5 degrees in mathematics and finance. I spent a decade in investment banking. I developed a series of health conditions which opened the door into the healthcare space. And that led me to really dig deep into the research and to understand a much better way to empower people with the digital twin to take care of their life quality. The key problem that we're dealing with in today's world is very much growing life quality costs, whether in the form of the non-communicable diseases, stress, anxiety, depression, obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular, musculoskeletal. That leads to productivity losses, and that leads to challenges across organizations, hospitals, and governments in terms of engaging the staff and keeping them at their best. That is why we have created a platform that leverages over 1 million research papers in the space of preventive health with the clear mission to empower 1 billion people to improve their life quality. So really to take charge and take things in their own hands with the help of a digital twin and reduce the various risks linked to life quality costs. Tangibly, we have built a life quality index. This has been recognized by the World IP Organization and World Health Organization as the future of health. It covers all of the 9 dimensions that we've also heard earlier today being talked about, from physical health to career, financial, brain power, purpose, self-awareness, emotional health, social life, and environment. And all of this has been powered by over 1 million research papers. The actual solution comes to life in the form of a virtual companion app as a digital twin in the hands of every person and every patient. It gives access to the insights from this research. It applies human-level understanding, so it's as if it's a person interacting with the individual. It applies reinforcement learning, so it learns from every single interaction, and it personalizes the advice, the recommendations, and the interventions for that specific individual. The digital twin itself is suitable for patients of any age, gender, background, ethnicity, income level. It's incredibly capital efficient as well as affordable and accessible. The impact that this platform has achieved to date is over 20% increase in life quality and reductions in stress, anxiety, and depression that have been validated, independently validated. Additionally, we have a population analytics dashboard that takes the population data bottom up and creates a dashboard that looks at the costs and the savings that can be achieved by reducing these healthcare risks across the population. The platform is also able to track engagement and to identify what are the key drivers of engagement and cost reduction at the population level. The digital twin solution is a very gamified and easy to use app. That is why we have reached acceptance in over 130,000 members around the world across 26 countries. It's very simple to use and it's very understandable, irrespective of the level of medical or health knowledge that the individual has. We've also done a randomized controlled trial with the NHS in the UK. We've launched the solution with the NHS in the UK, though the numbers in the validation really speak for themselves. This is a clinical trial that covers over 10,000 participants with clinical levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. And the impact achieved in a 3-month crossover trial has been quite impressive, between 8 and 17% reduction in stress, anxiety, and depression. The impact tangibly for the employee, for the individual, is an overall increase in life quality of 20%, between 15 and 17% decrease in stress, anxiety, depression symptoms already within 3 months of the app intervention. For the organization, we focus a lot on increases in productivity and retention, and really to calculate the return on investment for the capital invested exactly in this solution. We have very, very representative clients, both across the healthcare space as well as the corporate space around the world. And our academic partners cover the spectrum from Cornell, Stanford, Toronto University for AI, Oxford University in the UK. And we are now in discussions with Harvard University to put in place a partnership around the Life Quality Index. The team, I adore the team. We have across the technology, AI, and product spectrum, people that have between 3 and 6 exits in the AI and the technology space. We have the chair of our scientific advisory board, Dr. Andrew Valence-Owen, who has been the chief medical officer of Bupa for over 12 years. And we have on the US side, Dr. Ken Pelletier, who's basically the guru of prevention and genetics, which has published over 26 books and has been an advisor for everything from NASA to about 30 of the Fortune 500 companies. And it gets even better. The platform has been launched 2 years ago. We have over 130,000 members already. And one of our clients launches exactly today. And that is going to get us closer to 160,000 members this year already, with the revenue of close to $4.5 million. And on that note, I thank you for the opportunity, and I love to hand over to the next group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lorena. Right, we still have a little bit of time. Any questions from anybody? The judges?
Everything is clear.
Looks like everything is very clear. That's something good about that. Thanks, Lorena, for that. Yeah. Now we go to the next group. Maybe we go back to Santira XR. Is Jeremy Carter there? Okay.
I think we have a question. Thanks so much for your presentation. Tell me more about how you're distributing this tool. Is it a B2B2C kind of distribution model, or a direct to consumer? How is this being actually distributed?
It's a B2B2C. We've only done B2B sales, and then it gets distributed for the employees and for the organizations. We've not done B2C. The costs of actually scaling a product and educating the consumer are too high. So we've been very successful to do B2B, and the subscription model is per employee per month, and the population analytics is per license, per user, per month.
Thank you. Any other question?
Is it possible to see the video of live podium? Can't see who has question. Yeah. Any more question from audience online? You can type, or any other judges. Okay, if not, thank you very much, Lorena from SEED. Thanks for your presentation. I do hope to look at the Better Life Quality Index for myself. Santira XR, is Jeremy Carter online?
Yes.
Hey, hi. Oh, there's a lot of echo.
Hi, we are here. Also in the UAE.
You're also online. You're also on site. Yeah.
We are also on site. Yes. So we're just we're just connecting to the network. So we are here now. Tony is gonna start us off.
Sure. Go ahead.
Can everyone hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Fantastic. And sorry for the technical glitches. Yeah, we're now back on track. So this is going to be a joint presentation between myself and Jeremy. We're going to represent Santira XR. I'm going to talk about the team and the project, and Jeremy will cover the business matters. So at Santira XR, we develop virtual reality software for training a broad variety of healthcare professionals, anything from training doctors, midwives, audiologists, across the whole spectrum. We're a University of Manchester spin-out. If you've never been to Manchester before, this is our weather. It's in stark contrast to where we are at the moment. And this is our weather at the moment, 6 degrees and heavy rain. So we really started back in 2019 when we entered the University of Manchester Next Big Thing competition, and we won that competition. With the funding that we've obtained from that and other sources more recently, we put together our team. So we have Jeremy Carter, who has 20 years commercial experience in EdTech. and who was also the co-founder of Cirrus Assessment. We also have our other co-founder, Dr. Martin Fergie. So Martin's also our CTO. He's a lecturer at the University of Manchester in artificial intelligence. And he has got loads of business experience. He's been CTO of Digital Bridges, and he's CEO of another company as well, both of which are AI based. Then there's myself. I'm the other co-founder and education and content lead. I've also been a senior lecturer at the University of Manchester for over 30 years now. And I hope that my experience in pedagogy, evaluation, writing publications, I've written over 130 publications, including for Nature and Nature Genetics, that I can lend those skills to the development of this content, and make sure that it's at least there's some sort of parity between what we're developing and face-to-face, current face-to-face methods. We also have Emily Johnston, our lead VR developer. So Emily's got a first-class honours degree in creative arts, and she's a whiz at Unity and Unreal. She was shortlisted this year for the Insider Magazine Young Technical Professional of the Year. We have Graham Robinson, our 3D artist and designer, and Graham's been involved in a number of AAA games, but we've snatched him from the gaming industry and using him to develop really good looking simulations, which I'll show you in a minute. Jeong Ki is our natural language processing developer and platform developer. We brought him onto the team just over a year ago after he got a master's degree with distinction in computer sciences. And then we have Alexandra Warwick, who does all of our NLP quality assurance. So with regard to our products, we've got a number going at the moment. We've been incredibly successful with funding. So for example, at the end of last year, we were successful with an Innovate UK KIAT grant with the host of this conference, Health on Cloud and Tetrasignum. The aim of that is to use artificial intelligence to improve safe medication delivery to patients and to unblock pharmacology training, this time for nurses. So that was just shy of £1 million. And we are developing those simulations for schizophrenia, trauma, and asthma. And Health on Cloud, Tetrasignum are developing the platform for that. We've also been successful with 2 Health Education England grants. These are, again, natural language processing, where you can talk to the avatar and the student can do medical history taking. And we're doing those for Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, Crohn's disease, lung cancer, and SALT. They're already created and they're being evaluated at the moment. And we're using our own funds to create a tracheostomy simulation, which again is almost complete. In fact, we had the head of the UK tracheostomy group evaluate it last week, and he said it was pretty much close to perfect. So we're just doing some minor tweaks on that over the next few weeks. So I'll show you our product. And one thing that we want to do at Centura is we think it's really important to have an onboarding section to show people how to use the controllers, how to move around, etc. Then we take them through a training simulation where an avatar will guide them through every step of that particular procedure. Then they will do the actual procedure itself, and they'll be assessed on that and get feedback. You know, did they do things in the right order? How long did it take them to do that? So I'll just play this video, and hopefully the sound works.
Your dedicated AI assistant. It is like
So as you can see there, we use a mix of natural language processing. So we use generative AI and we use a more structured form as well. We also use motion capture so that we create realistic avatars that you can have a conversation with and have, you know, you can just discuss anything with them. That's the end of that one. And I'll just show you this final video before I hand over to Jeremy. So with the latest Innovate funding, we can do, again, natural language processing, where you can have conversations with the avatars, you can do your practical procedures, but on this one, you can also go inside the patient's body. So this is an early prototype for work we're doing on asthma. And this is basically following salbutamol from the inhaler into the mouth, into the trachea, and then into the lungs, and then following it inside the cell. So you can see the cascade of proteins. So here we have adenylate cyclase going to cyclic AMP, then phosphorylation of the smooth muscle. So eventually you get the relaxation of that muscle. Okay, I'm just going to pass you over to Jeremy to discuss the market.
Hi, everybody. I mean, there's already been some presentations today that alluded to the size of the global market for VR in education. But we can look at it as well from a very analytical perspective. So, for example, at the bottom, our initial target market in the UK, we can do a bottom-up analysis on this. We know that there are 20 million simulated learning hours that have been prescribed by the regulatory bodies at GMC and the sort of General Medical Council and the Nursing and Midwifery Council, and those across all of the student nurses and undergraduate medical students in the UK. Those are the hours collectively per annum that they can do in simulated learning across all of those student numbers. And so that gives us you know, a nominal fee of £10 per learning hour. A £200 million market that we can attack in the UK. And this has really come about from initiatives that are not just happening in the UK, but they're happening everywhere. But a good example of that is the NHS long-term workforce plan, which was published earlier this year. And that was aiming to obviously increase the number of medical and student nursing placements by 2032. Add 300,000 people more into the workforce at the NHS by that time. And all of these people need training and they all need continual professional development. And that all needs to happen within an infrastructure that's already kind of creaking at the seams in terms of actually getting people into traditional simulated learning using mannequins and actors, etc. And at the same time, we've got a demand by students that they really want that flexible, convenient, accessible learning opportunities, so they can practice their skills 24/7, 365, anytime and anywhere. And the technology that's now available, obviously with headsets like mobile devices, means that we can unlock that and scale that training out to them. And our revenue model is based around predominantly our platform, which is simulation creation and delivery. And then we allow simulation learning hours fee. So our clients can access all of the content that's in the library, and they pay for what is consumed by their students at a learning hours fee. And then we have a platform licensing fee. So eventually what will be able to happen is that those clients will be able to log into the platform and make changes to some of the simulation content that is available to them. So they can change an avatar, they could change a case history, and then they can republish that as a separate simulation and push that content out to their students. That is a little bit more aligned to their particular institutional needs. And in the future, as we collect all of the analytics data of that, then there'll be an analytics platform that people will also pay for access to. And we've been trialing this across institutions in the UK. We recently did our kind of go-to-market initial engagement exercise, where we got from a cold outreach, we got over 45% of UK higher institutions register their interest, and we're going through a process with all of those now, with meetings and demos and commercial engagement. So thank you very much for your time and giving us the opportunity to be present here in the UAE and to present to you today. And if we have time, we're happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy, and thanks, Tony, as well. Okay, very nice. I see that NHS is a good customer. Sid is also selling to NHS, right? So I think many UK companies are selling to NHS.
Yeah, there's a procurement exercise going on at the moment where they've been quite forward looking, and they're encouraging SMEs to register onto a framework that closes next week. So hopefully we'll be on that.
Nice. All the best to that. Yeah. Okay. Any questions from the audience or the panelists or judges?
I have a question regarding how you pedagogically evaluate your products.
Oh, okay, right. How do we, Tony, it's one for you. How do we pedagogically evaluate?
Yes, so there are validated questionnaires out there that we're going to use. We've got several of those, and I'm happy to share those. What I would say about VR at the moment in training is although there's validated questionnaires for simulated learning, there's not a huge amount out there for virtual reality, and particularly virtual reality in healthcare. So I feel that this is a learning process for all of us, and that we are going to have to create our own validation questionnaires for this, as well as rely on what's out there at the moment, which seems to be limited. I like to think that we are at the cutting edge of this particular field. And yeah, we'll have to share with you what we're doing for that, Ralph, for PhDs.
I think obviously Johnny's PhD incorporates that.
It does, yes. So part of Johnny's PhD. So Johnny Abbas is an ENT surgeon. One of my PhD students developing the tracheostomy simulation. And Johnny's actually going through this process of finding which current validated questionnaires for simulated learning, and I guess learning in general, are applicable to virtual reality and which parts aren't. And hopefully, together with other groups around the UK and globally, we can start putting something together that we can then use for the simulations that are, starting to appear on the market.
Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so in view of time, we'll quickly move on to the next group, and thanks Santira XR for your presentation. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, and thanks for being on site as well. Yeah. Okay, now let's move to the third group. I think I saw them online just now. So from Akorai, from Sweden, Dan Wistrom. Are you online, Dan?
Yes.
Great. Great, you can start. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you for inviting us and me to this event. Thank you especially to Mike Dowding for reaching out and being a good host of this event. So my name is Don. I'm the HR manager of Akorai in Sweden. I'm also the director of our efforts to expand Akorai into Korea and the East Asian market. So Akorai is a medtech company from Sweden, and what we are focusing on are heart failure monitoring. So the problem we are trying to solve is inadequate monitoring tools in the heart failure workflow. This, of course, affects a lot of people around the world, and it's a huge burden to the healthcare system. The problem starts early, with the patients being diagnosed too late, remaining unstable despite treatment, and being readmitted to hospital even though they are discharged. It's been proven that in the field, intracardiac pressures, the pressures inside the chambers of the heart, is a good way to measure these patients, but to date, only invasive solutions exist. So the solution to this is the Accuray heart monitor, but instead of me talking about it, I'm going to show a video.
The Accuray heart monitor is developed to enable intracardiac pressure monitoring using technology that is completely non-invasive. Placing the device on the patient's chest for a few minutes, the SAVE sensor system will record the seismic, acoustic, visual, and electric waves. Our machine learning engine will leverage this data to estimate the intracardiac pressures, which could help in the efficient management of heart failure patients. Accuray, the new standard in heart failure management.
So what we're trying to do here is, of course, to help the heart failure patients, also the workflow for cardiologists and healthcare professionals. And to validate this device and the technology, we have done our feasibility and pilot study in Sweden with over 300 patients, where we have showed equivalence to implantable devices and also accuracies in line and sometimes higher than standard of care tools on the market. To further validate, we have an ongoing global clinical study where we have enrolled 400 patients to date, and we are doing it in Canada, US, and around Europe. We, of course, had some customer validation for the product, where we have interviewed physicians, cardiologists, administrators, and many other stakeholders. The research has shown a high willingness to pay for the product, but also cost savings for the hospitals and time savings for the healthcare professionals. Compared to other devices in the field, we have been focusing on performance over variability, and we are the only non-invasive device that can measure these intracardiac pressures in an accurate way that can be used by the cardiologists and improve the workflow. The marketing we are aiming for is a global SAM of $10 billion, focusing at the start on US and later Europe, and in the future also East Asia and the GCC countries. The business model will be B2B, direct to hospital, initially with our own sales team, but in the future also through distribution partnerships. So we will sell with a subscription model with a price of $7,500 per device per year. And this will, as I said, be in hospital, and it will be a monitoring tool for inpatients in the hospital to start with. The team has experience from the medtech field, regulatory and clinical, and and have taken these type of devices and other type of medtech devices to the market before. Our team is around 20 people around the world and also many consultants. We have an amazing advisory board, clinical partners and investors, everything from cardiologists, key opinion leaders, and also physicians and cardiologists. So what we have done so far is the clinical study, but we've also been designated a breakthrough device by the FDA. And we have gotten investment from EU, that being the EIC accelerator that we just got this year. And we are right now closing our financing round to finance our clinical studies and regulatory submissions. We expect to launch the product the first quarter of 2025. Just before the release of the product, we will need to finance this, of course, with another fundraising. So we expect to raise 15 million by the end of 2024 for this market launch in US and later Europe. So I thank you very much, and I hope you will join us in transforming heart failure management.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, thanks for the nice presentation and the demo as well. Yeah, the video. Any questions from the podium, from the judges, panelists, or audience?
This is Mark saying, thanks so much for the presentation. Really exciting solution. I wanted to just confirm, is the kind of monitoring intermittent or is it continuous?
Yeah, so the way we are doing it now is it will not be a continuous one with this one. So the idea with this one is to do periodic measurement, for example, every hour, every day, and then follow up the changes in the pressures and change the medication based on that.
I see. Thank you. And how, maybe as a follow-up, how are you getting the data back into the record?
Yeah, so the data that we're using now is from the clinical trials, and that will train the machine learning models in the device. Once that one is trained and approved, that will be basically the model that we will use. We will not collect and use the data to improve the models in this first version of the device, because there are a lot of personal information rules, especially in EU and US.
Hey, Tatsulika, I have a question. Is this a single patient use device, or is it envisaged that the device will be used clean?
So this is a multi-patient device. It will be used initially in the hospital. Let's say the cardiologist has the device and goes to a patient. They use it on one patient. They clean the device, and then they can use it on the next patient.
Any more questions from the audience, judges? Okay, if not, thanks very much then for your presentation, Akorai. Thank you. Right. Okay, please stay on the line if you can. Right. The next speaker or company to present is from Korea, Medithing. John, are you online?
Yeah, hello. This is
the
Jeong.
name of the company correctly? Medithing or Medithing Q?
It's a Medithing Q.
Okay, Medithing Q, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good. So basically, I'm from Medithing Q. It's a South Korean company. We are located in Seoul, a place called Pangyo. So my name is John Elinami, and I'm working with Medithing Q. So we want to appreciate for this opportunity you've given to us to introduce our technology and also our product. So I'll just go direct to the presentation. So basically, Medithing Q is a company that develops a wearable AR display for medical users. And most of the tech company, as you know, that we have the VR, AR, and the MR, and also XR, they're more focusing much on the software. But again, the unique part of Medithing Q is that we also manufacture software and also hardware. So this is one of the key points that I can be able actually to stress as a company, that we've actually put effort on that area as compared with other vendor. So it is believed that it will take some time for the AR glasses to become a necessity to all general consumers around the world, like smartphone, as you can see maybe from my presentation. But introduction has already begun, and many industry field, including the medical field, as you can see in the graph, especially on the right. So shipment and also marketing size has actually been expected to increase. So the reason is that tasks performed by humans, including tasks performed by humans, including the medical practice, must now be aided by information and content, as we are actually in the cutting edge technology. So you understand that actually it's not that easy, especially as a company. We've actually tried as much as we can to come up with, like we've done over 100 tested across the world, and we've actually got the certification qualification for this product, like the FDA, CEE, and also we have the PMDA. So this one shows you that we're actually ready for the commercialization. So for global commercialization, we have tied up with a distributor specialized in the medical field around the world, and approach hospitals in each country through them. But at the same time, we have also continuously consulted with the global medical giant, like for example, the Meditrons, and also we have the Stryker, Johnson & Johnson, and also Olympus, and more effective global commercialization. As a result, we finally actually signed a distributorship with the Meditron that was last month. And we are looking forward to expand the market in APEC and also in Europe based on the, Japan. So in addition, our products not only help doctors to improve their posture, when we perform surgery, because as you understand, during surgery, they have to look on the monitor, like left and right. So this one increase what you call the fatigue, and also, it's kind of a pain on the neck. So what we've done is that we're saying that with this solution, if they're using it, it's actually a mass product where that they can contribute greatly on the patient safety and must be worn during particularly dangerous surgery. When performing very dangerous surgery, such as, for example, drilling drilling holes in the skull or spine and inserting implants, surgeon can receive help from the navigation medical equipment. But the navigation screen, most of the time they have to check on the screen. So back and forth, they have to focus on the surgery. So you realize that at the end of the day, there's no that concentration. But with these wearable smart glasses, it actually increased the efficiency and also, help them to concentrate on the surgery. As you can see on the left, there are many types of the AR glasses on the market, but it is difficult to find a product like ours that has form factor that allows you to view video information effectively and at the same time view the outside without any discomfort. As you understand that while you're performing the surgery, you have to see the surgery environment. So this one gives the comfortability as a result of you're able to see all the images in front of your glasses. So this one brings the factor of the ergonomic. In addition, our product is clearly differentiated from other products in that there is no product that supports 3D wireless and allows viewing of full HD video in real time with minimal delay. That means with a minimal latency. This is why a huge medical company such as Meditron and Olympus, they're actually paying much attention on our company. So we are actually a tech-based venture company that was established in 2018, and we are about 35 employees working day and night to see how we can provide the best solution that can actually save the world in terms of the surgery and also on the medical field. So allow me to share our CEO. He's our founder and has got his career. Actually, his previous career was on the LG Electronics and has consistently led business related to the data transmission and video visualization for over 20 years. In particular, that is in 2022, a company was formed in France and was listed on the Euronext market. And in its successful story was actually aired within 1 hour as a documentary show on the French public market. So our CTO is actually, after he did build a solid career on an engineer and a large Korean company, and a famous foreign company, has been working in hand with the CEO for over 10 years, trying to see how they can be able to pioneer on the R&D in our field. So the remaining two doctors, as you can see, Mr. Seung and also Mr. Young Lee, these are actually very two active doctors who are serving as our company's chief medical advisor on part-time basis and are great help in product planning and also clinical exchange with hospital locally and also across the world. So far, we have received, in terms of the fund, 6.5 million US dollar, and we are currently in the process of attracting additional funding of 5 million US dollar with a pre-money valuation of 45 million US dollar. With this, I would like to conclude my introduction on the Medicine Q. And again, thank you for the opportunity and for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Very impressive. A lot of AR, VR, XR companies actually in healthcare today, right? Especially for remote education. Okay. Any questions from the judges? Maybe I have a question first because I came from a telco world. So you were mentioning about the low latency and no delay when it comes to real-time streaming. Isn't that also dependent on the network that you are on rather than just on the device itself? And for perfect or undisrupted viewing, do you need like 5G or Wi-Fi 6, 7, that kind of technology, or you can run on normal 4G itself?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, we with our solution, we provide the internal internet, so you don't require any, any external connectivity. So that makes now actually easy in terms of monitoring the latency and all that.
Okay, thank you. That's important. Okay.
This is Mark. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thanks.
I wanted to just clarify the underlying technology with MetaThinQ. Is it similar to Nreal or XReal, like a bird bath optics, more like a heads-up display, or are you doing something more along the lines of like a HoloLens type kind of solution?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good question. So basically with our technology, it's a eyes up display. It's like the way you say. So basically we help doctors or surgeons to connect on the monitors and be able to view, the images from the monitor just on the eyes up display, rather than just, turning up left and right to look on the monitor.
Hi, this is another of the judges. I have a question. Thank you for a super
go ahead.
Thank you for a super presentation. Have you done trials in terms of utility or end user experience of your product?
Yes, right. Thank you. That's a good question also. As I'd presented earlier, like I've shown that we've done over 100 evaluation and trial across the world. So basically we interact also with the end user and also with the hospital, locally and also globally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the judges? Okay, great. Thank you very much, John, for your presentation. MetaThinQ, okay, from Korea. Now let's welcome the next presenter from Singapore, EXA. Marcus, you can start now.
Right. Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Mike, for the invitation. Let me share my screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcus Su. I am the CEO of EXA, which is a company based in Singapore. So we are a deep tech company, very focused on preventive health using artificial intelligence. So the technology I want to introduce to you today is developed by us, which is, we call it the EXA BGEM, which stands for Blood Glucose Evaluation and Monitoring, which is a technology to evaluate and assess diabetic risk on individual using wearables. Okay, so our company vision is to help people live healthier and longer using technology, and our mission is to leverage as much as possible using software, artificial intelligence, technologies like data analytics to create the next generation preventive health solution. Purpose is to address chronic diseases, to prevent chronic diseases and the onset of it. So we know it is a very serious epidemic, right? 41 million people die from chronic diseases every year. 1 in 3 adults have multiple conditions, and 6.7 million, and the list goes on. I will not go on from here. But what we want to address is diabetes. And in UAE alone, 30% of the population qualify as diabetic or pre-diabetic, and about 1.1 million people is estimated to be diabetic by the year 2030. And I think this is slightly better than the situation in Singapore. About 1 million people is estimated to be diabetic in 2045. But I think I just want to point out to you that 1 out of these 4 people, about 23% of these Singaporeans who are diabetic are undiagnosed. And we know that undiagnosed diabetic can lead to a lot of other complications. So this is the situation worldwide. By the year 2030, 643 million adults will be diabetic. And it gets even worse because 1 out of 2 are undiagnosed. This number is actually very alarming, with about 3 million over people having diabetes and undiagnosed, right? So it is expensive, and it costs the world about $2.5 trillion US dollars by the year 2030. So let us take a look at the common screening methods that we usually utilize. Okay, so the glucometer and the CGM, which is not a common household device. It is expensive, and we know that it is also invasive. So it's not, people will not just use it to prick themselves every day unless you have diabetes. So the other very common screening method is through the annual health screening. So we don't do our health screening very frequently. at the most one every year. So I think frequency of screening the diseases is actually very important. So the other way is questionnaire-based online risk scoring tools, but this does not provide definitive outcome, maybe qualitative, and not a good tool. So there is a need for a genuine, simple, easy, frequent, and affordable way to do screening. I would like to introduce BGEM, which is the world's first blood glucose evaluation and monitoring technology, which is non-invasive, and we utilize it on everyday wearable devices. So if you can see my screen, or you can see my video, I'm wearing smart rings, wearables, and at the same time, I have this in-ear device, right? So as long as these devices has a photoplethysmography sensor that measures heart rate, we will be able to use this to implement our AI solution to assess diabetic risk for any individuals. So in short, BGEM is an AI solution that uses the signal from the photoplethysmography sensor on any smartwatches, fitness wearable, hearables, right? Pass it to the AI model, and then we will be able to give you the outcome of the individual's diabetic risk level. So how do we achieve this? So we combine the use of AI and statistical analysis. So we know that AI can be viewed as a black box, and we want our solution to be explainable. So what we use is that we use statistical bioinformatics as part of the analysis. So we gather demographic data as well as the sensor data. We use statistical bioinformatics analysis to do the first round of analysis, right? And then it gives us about 67% of accuracy. And through the use of data engineering and feature learning from AI, we are able to improve the model to about 80% of accuracy, which is sensitivity and specificity of over 80%, right? And through this, we are able to classify the blood glucose level of an individual to normal or abnormal. And in order to improve this prediction, we do the measurement multiple times. So we recommend the user to measure at least 3 times before we produce an outcome of the diabetic risk assessment. So we have done a clinical trial back in 2022, and we have completed this clinical trial. It's based on 500 subjects, right? And we just published a paper, an AI paper on this. There's another medical journal that has been approved and will be published in no time, right? So I've mentioned the sensitivity and specificity of this model is above 80%. And these are the key people behind the BGEM clinical trial. Dr. Shibuhan is our principal investigator from representing EXA. He's the lead data scientist, right? Associate Professor Ang, he's a senior consultant from KK Hospital in Singapore from Sing Health Group. And he's also the clinical associate professor from Duke NUS Medical School. And Emeritus Professor Savinder is a world-renowned biostatistician. So both Professor Ang and Emeritus Professor Savinder is also our advisor. He sits on our advisory board. So Jocelyn is the head of software solutions, right? She provided and developed all the software applications and the platforms for this clinical trial. Of course, he has been supported by our hardware team, which is led by Chiwai. His picture is not here, as well as the data science team led by Dr. Shi. And I'm Marcus Su. I'm the R&D program manager for this clinical trial, right? So our solution is ready to go to market. So in order to go to market, we have designed reference UI for our solution, right? So if you notice, our solutions are color-coded. Let me refer back back to the previous slide. So to make it very simple for the end user to understand, right? Green means low risk and red means high risk, right? So why do we use this color code? Because for diabetic risk assessment or even measuring diabetic risk level, for a lot of common people, men on the street, if you ask them, okay, if you use a glucometer, measure yourself and the outcome is about 7.9 millimole per liter. What does that mean to this individual? So I think most of them will have no idea. But if you give them a color-coded green, it's very simple, means if I get a risk assessment and I'm green, means I'm okay, I have no problem, right? If I get a red, I probably better go and see my family doctor. So it is as simple as that. That's why we do the color code, right? So these are the color code. We also want to give actionable insights. So our system provide actionable insights or actionable tips that you can actually follow if you are being advised that you have low risk, marginal risk, moderate risk, of high risk of having type 2 diabetes. So using this solution, we will be able to monitor diabetic risk pattern over a period of time. We monitor the trend, whether subject A is having increasing diabetic risk, or like subject B who is having a decreasing diabetic risk. And our solutions is cloud-based. So what advantage this kind of system gives is that, first of all, if we have better model, it will be implemented almost immediately, and the users will get to use the latest model, more accurate model, right? Secondly, because we are able to integrate this system to the client's server. So what it means that if the client server is from a medical center, is from the government's health system, right? So if their user has a high diabetic risk, the client server can do a secondary assessment, whether to decide to bring or to inform the user or to inform the user's family doctor to have a closer look at this particular patient. So what kind of benefits and value does BGEM brings to the table? So early detection, right? So BGEM allows the early detection or early screening of diabetic risk. So why do we want to do early detection? It's simply because we can introduce intervention early. When we are able to introduce intervention early, we will be able to delay the onset, or in many circumstances, like if a person has pre-diabetes, chances of them being reversed is also very high. So we also know that undiagnosed diabetes can lead to many other medical complications. So by having early detection, we reduce the risk of such medical complications. Secondly, it reduces the financial burden on individuals, right? So because if we are sick, we have to go for treatment, and we know that chronic diseases like diabetes is not reversible. You can only manage the diabetes for the rest of your life. And it costs a lot of, it's expensive to manage it, because you have to, have your insulin, you have to do your glucometer check every day, you have to prick yourself, you need to buy the strips, and all these have costs. Secondly, insurers, right? So insurers will definitely be able to benefit from all the cost savings by reducing all the payouts, because there's reduced diabetes patients. So for governments, the savings is actually obvious. It takes about $1,000 or $1,000 to manage a diabetes patient for a whole year. Imagine if we are able to delay the onset of diabetes, for example, 5 years, right? The amount of savings will be tremendous. For hospital and medical services, there will be a reduced burden on the resources, and these resources can be redirected to focus on life-threatening cases. And of course, lastly, environmental sustainability. There'll be definitely less biomedical waste, because there'll be a reduction of use on the strips and the needles. So for research and development, we have completed our first clinical trial, which resulted in the BGEM being able to do risk assessment, right? So I think we definitely can do better, right? By having BGEM being able to come up with a range. If we are able to do classification for normal, abnormal, we'll be able to do better classification into various levels, right? So the next focus will be to work on this range base and eventually being able to personalize, meaning that if I'm able to provide my own data to be input into the model, can this model perform or react better to my own measurement? Our growth strategy is definitely based on revenue growth, right? Ours is licensing model. So we license our technology to partners, brand owners, major brand owners. So we do channel partnering with major brand owners, manufacturers, using technology distribution agreement. So we also want to expand our intellectual property list in the preventive health technology through R&D and also M&As. So our current focus is on diabetes. right? Chronic diseases can range. There are many other chronic diseases like hypertension. So these are areas that we also want to look into. Joint venture and partnership, because we believe in collaborations, whether is it R&D, whether is it clinical collaborations with other institutions, or business collaborations through joint ventures and partnerships. So we'll be able to extend the reach of our solutions and technology. We definitely want to focus on retaining valuable talents who are able to contribute to our R&D, sales, marketing, and communications. Right. So we also open to M&A with companies of similar vision and technologies of similar kind. So far, we have been able to launch 3 models in 2020. And these 3 early models has allowed us to engage some of the top brands in India, China, Germany, and Korea. So we have 2 design wins in this quarter, Q4 2023. We will be expecting revenue from BGM to come in Q1 2024. And we're also finalizing a distribution agreement with a partner in China. So with this distribution agreement, because this partner is very experienced in working with the top brands in China. So once this distribution agreement is finalized, we will be able to bring our technology into the major brands in China, right? So technology licensing business model is able to generate repeatable and recursive revenue, and it's high margin, so therefore a high return in investment. Right, I've mentioned we'll continue to focus on our research and development. Our strength is due to the fact that we have a very strong and very gritty R&D team. We fail and then we try again, right? In fact, for BGM, we have failed multiple times, and then we restarted the research and development multiple times. We have a passionate team, definitely. Right, so these are the people in EXA. Myself, I'm a co-founder of EXA. Working with me is Lily. She's a vice president. She heads the product platform. She's also a co-founder. She specializes, or she's a trained project manager. GY is our head of hardware solutions. So the BGM hardwares that we do for the clinical trial are handled by him and his team. Jocelyn, I've mentioned, right? So all the platforms, applications during the trial are handled by her. In fact, the current insights platform that we are rolling out to the China partner as well as clients in India are handled by Jocelyn. Raymond specializes in sales and marketing. He has experience in this area for about 20 years. And Dr. Shi, I've mentioned, he's our lead data scientist and he leads the R&D team in EXA. So these are the people in EXA, about 22. We have 10 full-time staff based in Singapore, and 12 full-time staff based in our Indonesia office. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Marcus, from EXA, from Singapore, BGEM, yeah? So let's quickly open to the floor. Any questions from the judges in live podium? No, everything is very clear. Okay, so thanks, Marcus. Now let's move on to the next company, also from Singapore, Space MedTech by Professor Sir Wee.
All right, good afternoon, everyone there. Again, thank you for inviting me to this forum. My name is Wee Sir. I am the co-founder and CEO of this company. I used to work in the university as a professor, and I'm currently still enjoying the title of being an emeritus in the university. The other co-founder that I have is actually Professor and Dr. David Fu, who is a cardiologist, and he is the immediate past head of the Department of Cardiology in Tan Tock Seng Hospital. And Space MedTech basically is a product of years of research that Dr. Fu and myself have conducted, and is considered a spin-off from the Nanyang Technological University of Singapore. Now, my product is heart failure monitor, or in short, HFM. Some of you would recall that earlier on, Dan from Akorai has actually presented something very interesting on heart failure management. This presentation actually has allowed me to reduce, hopefully, the materials that I need to present, and I'd like to thank him for that. And of course, there's a lot that we can actually, there's a lot that I can learn from Dan, and hopefully from each other. But suffice to say that the intended use for the heart failure monitor that I'm going to introduce to you is different from the one that Dan introduced, in that the monitor that I introduced is intended for patient to use directly. In other words, we have to be able to make the product a lot more robust, a lot more easy to handle, so that patients who are not trained professionals can use it easily, and doctors can actually do a remote control with a very effective way of mitigating the problem. Now, without further ado, let me just elaborate a little bit on what we intend to do in our business. We see that in the future, I think remote monitoring and timely intervention technologies are important. And our immediate goal is that we aim to play an active role in transforming cardiopulmonary care with novel AI-enabled medical devices platforms. I personally have been working in AI research for many years and published quite a number of papers and patents. Now, so back to the product that I'm introducing to you. It is basically a non-invasive platform. As I say, it focuses on remote monitoring and timely intervention. In other words, it is actually for home use, right? It is not meant to replace any hospital facilities for use in the hospital. And before I move on, I guess it'll be useful to understand why is it that we chose this particular design to develop and then sell it in the market. As I say, some of this I think Dan has already mentioned, so I'm going to go through it very quickly. The first question that we ask ourselves before we embark on the development of a medical device is there a unmet clinical need? So you can see from this slide that if we want the product to be used at home, we cannot possibly use facilities that need to be used in the hospital, such as X-ray, right? And then I was told by my the cardiologist that I spoke to in Singapore, in Indonesia, in UK, in USA, that the current home-based CHF monitoring method is very primitive. It's basically getting the patient to measure their weight, and then if the weight increases by more than 2 kg within 2 days, they may have a problem and they may have to go and see a doctor. So there is a need. And then true enough that if you look at what is currently available, what have been approved by FDA, what are already in the markets, these are the various possibilities. And of course, on the left-hand side, X-ray and so on cannot be used at home. ECG, some people claim that you can actually use it, but they're actually not specific enough. And for weighing at home, we all know that it actually is not sensitive enough. So pending the further approval by FDA on devices like ours, there is currently a gap in terms of having a home-based timely intervention solution. Now, the second factor on why is it that we chose this product is, of course, the question of whether there is a market. Are there enough number of people who are in need of such a device? And if you search the internet, you will find these numbers. And it basically shows that there is quite a sizable pool of people who will benefit by having our device. So there is money there, there is market out there. And thirdly, of course, is can we do something about the solution? Can we provide a solution that can be used at home for remote monitoring? And so we need to go back to the basic. And my clinical partner, my cardiologist partner, had been telling me that basically the way that CHS is diagnosed is through observing the signs and symptoms. And so if you think about that, this will mean that you actually need sensor, you need AI, but AI is not enough, right? I'd like to emphasize that in our solution, we also incorporate clinical intelligence, because clinicians told me that when they make an assessment, they don't just do it based on the output of an instrument. They actually take a very holistic approach and ask many other questions to the patients. So this is what I meant by clinical intelligence, and we have that actually in our system. And of course, there's a high hospital readmission rate, there's a low doctor to patient ratio, etc., etc. And so we need to devise something that is easy for people to use it at home. right? We don't want to develop anything that for people to use it in the hospital. So with all these considerations, my partner, Dr. David Fu, and I embarked on the study and development of the heart failure monitor. Now, so from the inception to the end, we actually done quite a bit of tests, clinical trials, publishing paper, filing patents, and the latest that has happened is that Dr. Fu actually delivered our latest work in Heart Failure Congress 2023 in Europe, and I think he received very encouraging response and feedback from the conference itself. So what is our product, right? So our MVP basically is a simple to use device, comprises a sensor, mobile apps, and also algorithms in the cloud. And it actually allows the patient to use it to monitor their condition on a daily basis or as and when they want to do it. It tells the patients and also alert the doctors when the patients need attention. And furthermore, it allows the doctors to intervene with medication adjustment. Now, not every problem about heart failure can be intervened by medication adjustment. So we deal with the part, especially on allowing the doctors to intervene with remotely adjusting the medication for the patient. And the device has been tested with some people in the hospital in Singapore and also in Indonesia. Its accuracy they will obtain is like 95%. So what the patient will see at the after 30 minutes of using the device is that the patient will see either they are healthy or they are symptomatic or they need to be attended to. And so this is deliberately kept simple for the patients. And then of course for the doctors, they can actually have a lot more information, including things like what is the outcome behavior of the patients over the past 1 week or a month or a year. And then the device also allows the tracking of other parameters such as their weights, their other symptoms and other vital signs and so on, which allows the doctor actually to make a lot more assessment, not necessarily at the instant itself, but also together with his other colleagues. So in short, the unique selling points of our product is that it is actually not a me too, because when we tried to submit to FDA, we couldn't find any FDA predicates. So we're in the process of trying to go for a breakthrough submission. And the unique selling point basically we actually developed it based on a technology relating to the condition of the chest cavity. And also we incorporated AI and clinical intelligence, as I've said. It's truly non-invasive. It doesn't need any professional nurses or doctors to operate. And so these are really differentiate ourselves from other similar products. So besides trial, we have also obtained regulatory approval from the Singapore Health Science Authority. And we have also subjected our product to usability trials, both in Singapore and in Indonesia. Why Indonesia? I'll explain to you later. Now, TTSH is the hospital in Singapore. Primaya and Pathology are the hospitals in Indonesia. And at the end of the trial, we asked the patients, we sent them a survey form, and then we asked the doctor to ask them. The response is positive, very highly positive. They are interested to use our HFM, at least most of them. And so what did the doctor say? The doctors who actually conducted the trials, they are heart failure specialists. So they basically say this is useful to the patients, and different doctors will say that there are different parts of it that are useful to the patient. So overall, the value proposition we have for the stakeholders, for patient and caregiver, is allow them to control the disease, have peace of mind, save costs. And for the hospitals and doctors, it can be a more effective way of managing CHF. It can allow them to optimize their resources better. It can actually become a new form of service that they're providing. Insurance, of course, is more interested in having cost savings. How do we push this product to the market? This being a new product, we will encounter problems in market penetration. Our model is B2B2C. Right? Having obtained HSA, our immediate target is to go to Indonesia and China. Why these two? Because the number of population suffering from HCHF are very high for these two countries. And so what we have been doing currently is we have been working with the hospitals and clinics over there to get the doctors to use our product, to get the patient there to use our product, to get them to buy in. Of course, we need to incentivize early adopters. Eventually, after we are done with the local, we will hopefully by then we will have obtained FDA and CE mark, and then USA and Europe will be the next major market that we're going to enter soon. Revenue model, one-time payment for the sensor, because we provide apps, we provide algorithms, we provide upgrades and so on. We are going to charge annual subscription. And so far, the distributor we work with in Indonesia do not feel that there is a problem with this. Now, how do we prepare for market penetration? You look at the blue color part, these are basically the hospitals. We need to work with them, right? We need to have both short-term, immediate term, as well as a long-term R&D research. On the purple color part, we need to do the paperwork, right? We need to get the necessary ISO. We need to get the necessary regulatory approval. On the green color part, we actually are working with a strategic manufacturer partner who allow us to have rapid prototyping. We can change our design very quickly. In the next 2 days, they will come back with a prototype for us to try. And because we work with them at the early stage, so the design are scalable. The design we consider like what kind of materials, the materials we use, would it be can it be applied easily? Can it be used easily in the production line? Would there be easy, smooth flow of supply in the market, and so on? Achievement. We have actually since 2018, we actually has released this to the news. We actually won some competitions. We have obtained ISO in 2022. And this year, we actually have signed an agreement with Indonesia for them to not only buy and use our product, but also to conduct long-term R&D with them. Sales timeline for this year, for next year, we will focus on Indonesia, and then we will also try to work on product registration in China. And next following year, we will focus in selling in Indonesia and China. At the same time, we will go for FDA and CE mark approval. Do we stop here? No, our product is scalable technologically. We are able to, besides enhancing our current product feature, in the longer term, we actually can put in more, because we work with the strategic manufacturer, we can have more functions in our sensor. We can actually extend it to be used for other heart disease problems. The team is the thing that makes it possible. And we have a small team, but we actually, every individual is an expert in himself. And then we are augmented by doctors, by regulatory consultant, business advisor, etc. So the core team, I put just 3 most important names inside here. Myself, the clinical lead, who is Dr. David Fu himself, and also an engineer who has been working for close to 30 years. Advisors, again, we have many advisors. We have business strategy advisor. We work with clinical partner outside of Singapore. And then we work with AI expert in USA. Some of you may know who is Professor Jeong Principal, Joseph Principal. So with this, I want to end my presentation and hopefully the message that you can bring back, if you forget everything that I say, is heart failure monitor is made by Swiss Medtech in Singapore, and it is one of the best monitoring platform for congestive heart failure management. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor from Singapore Space MedTech. Let's go to the judges and the panelists from Live Podium. Any question from you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for a great presentation. I'm interested in how you integrate the clinical intelligence succinctly. Is this from the cloud alerting doctors' phones? How are you envisage doing this?
I don't fully catch what you say, but if I'm not wrong, you're asking something about the clinical intelligence. Am I right?
That is correct, yes. How do you integrate that into your system?
Okay. The clinical intelligence basically comprises of what the doctor usually check and what they usually ask the patient to do. So how it is integrated? It is not integrated fully into the AI. Okay. It's actually provided as an information for doctor to be able to see remotely, and it's actually recorded into the system to show a longitudinal trend of these things happening. So one of the example is the symptoms, right? Symptoms. If a patient have a symptom, such as for example, the chest pain, right? Chest pain. So this chest pain is actually recorded into the systems as and when the whole device is being used by the user. And then over time, the doctor actually can see a trend of whether or not this chest pain continues to happen. does it disappear after some time, or does it happen? So the judgment of this chest pain effect is done by the remote, by the doctor remotely. Does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the live podium? Okay, no. Thank you very much, Prof. Sir from Space MedTech Singapore. Thank you. Now let's move on to the next presenter. Is from the United States. House Call VR. Linda? Yeah, Dr. Linda, you're online.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. I'm Dr. Linda Civarelli, and I'm here to talk to you about House Call VR. So for many of you, you've had this experience. Have you ever gone to the doctor, had an encounter with healthcare, and not sure what they're talking to you about? What do they say? I don't remember. Maybe feeling confused or unsure, uncertain about what comes next, what you're supposed to do, confused about your medications or how to take them or even what they're for. Did you Google it? Unfortunately, this is an all too common problem. This happens around the world, whether it's Google or another search engine. And this leads to poor health literacy. Poor health literacy is, in fact, a global crisis. According to a just released Economist Forum, the Health Inclusivity Index lists health literacy as the #1 key insight to global health. Poor health literacy causes an increase in hospitalization, disease, and overall mortality. It's not just a human problem. This is an economic problem. In the United States alone, we're looking at over $215 billion annually lost to low health literacy, with thousands more cost per admission for a low health literacy patient, billions spent annually in administrative costs and insurance, and thousands of dollars in annual out-of-pocket costs. So what do? We give people a brochure. Many of us have gone to the doctor and left with nothing more than a piece of paper. These cost an unbelievable amount of money, something around $3.8 million on average per hospital system. Sometimes we have a little bit more forward-thinking hospitals that can spend thousands, tens of thousands on videos. You can also spend time and effort and resources that could be otherwise put in other places on hiring expensive care. This approach doesn't work. It's not standardized, it's not efficient, and it's not effective. So now imagine a world where patients can understand their health better, where doctors like myself can forge stronger connections and achieve improved outcomes, and health systems can revolutionize delivery and ensure better and more efficient care for everyone. I'd like to introduce today House Call VR. We are developing an immersive technology solution using virtual reality to give patients a better understanding of their health. So imagine the next time you go to the doctor, you see what's happening within your body. You can look around you, you can see the space around you, you can understand what's happening. How is that sugar how is the food turning into glucose in your body? How is it not being able to be interacted with the cell? Now looking down in a first-person experience where you're seeing your legs, or maybe you're seeing only one leg because you haven't been able to adequately care, giving you then a first-person opportunity, put shoes on, see exactly how you can stop some of these downstream effects. Now, why virtual reality? We have lots of digital tools. We know virtual reality is a superhero solution. It's been shown to have over 250% better engagement. It's faster and has remarkably better retention. So currently we're developing our MVP, and the customer journey looks something like this. We have a simple clinical interface that we're developing. So imagine you go to see your doctor, you have a problem with your shoulder. Your doctor has this clinical interface. They share this information with a head-mounted display that is right there in your clinic for you. You don't have to take it home. The patient interacts with a short 6 to 12 minute module. This frees up time and resources, leads to improved outcomes, and saves money. The patient, on the other hand, has a first-person experiential understanding of what's going on with their health, tackling that health literacy. They can then go home and interact with a mobile application and improve their health, save money and time. Now, virtual reality is an emerging technology. This also, just hot off the presses from PwC, when asked what your company does, has the plans to prioritize investment in emerging technology, of course, AI is absolutely the forefront. But third there is virtual reality. And you can see augmented reality is underneath. Also, a huge increase in the CAGR over the next 10 years. The market opportunity is vast. In the United States alone, we're looking at thousands of hospitals, hundreds of thousands of primary care physicians, thousands of insurance providers, and potentially tens of thousands of chain pharmacies. And that's just in the United States alone. The competitive landscape in immersive technology, primarily, so virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, there are a variety of competitors doing similar things, but no one doing exactly what it is that we're doing. We are health provider client focused. We're patient education oriented. We're medical professional founded, health outcome focused with virtual reality experience. So you've met me, nice to meet you all. My co-founder, I have over 20 years of clinical experience. My co-founder has over 20 years of experience in business oversight and financial industry with multiple global committee appointments. The rest of our team, our non-technical team, is primarily clinicians. Dr. Woods, Dr. Greenleaf, and Elizabeth Bloomfield all have vast and decades-long clinical experience. We're solving our own problems. How is it that we can transfer this knowledge to our patients in a way that's meaningful and really truly address this issue? Also have an amazing team behind us as well. So our traction, we actually started by leveraging social virtual reality. We went into the place where people are already in this technology, people who are already have headsets. We asked the question, can you educate people about their health leveraging immersive tech? And the resounding answer is yes. We were able to host the first public medical lectures in the Metaverse. We had a virtual reality pancreas. This was a live and a public forum with an internist talking about diabetes. We hosted a talk about addiction from inside of a virtual reality brain. Again, this is an open public forum. These are just early learnings. We then developed a prototype, which you saw some pictures for. I know it's difficult in 2D to see this, but in 3 dimensions, it's pretty remarkable to be able to see and understand and interact with what's happening in your health. Currently now, we're developing our MVP with some key partners, a federal healthcare institution here in the United States, a large hospital system, a school of pharmacy, and an urban school district. Our next steps are leveraging those key partnerships for development, for deployment, validation, and adoption. Again, I'm Dr. Linda Civarelli. Thank you so much for having me today, talking about House Call VR, where we're leveraging immersive technology to tackle health literacy, to improve outcomes, to improve efficiencies, and to drive engagement.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks, House Call presentation. Very impressive. Okay, maybe can I open it to the judges from live podium? Dr. Mike, Dr. Mark, sorry, and Dr. Raf. Any question from you?
Hi, it's Dr. Raf MacKinnon. Thank you for a really engaging presentation. I have a question. How much are you engaging women's health with respect to your product?
That's a wonderful question. Thank you so much for that. I'll tell you, women's health isn't our focus. We see this more as a broad solution. In many cases, people are struggling to understand what it is that their physicians are telling them. So we see a broad application. There's applications in women's health, in preventative health, all the way from some of our early customers or potential customers include a plastic surgeon, include a hospital system that's interested in leveraging this technology to explain radiation oncology treatment, anywhere from diabetes education to diabetes medication adherence and HIV medication adherence, as well as nutrition. So we see, because the solution is so poor in most of the world, is using a brochure, if that, there's really unlimited potential when it comes to the application.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah. Any more questions from the judges or the floor, the audience? Okay. If not, thanks, Linda, and thanks, HouseCall VR from the United States. Now let's move on to the next speaker. Is Ignite Data from United Kingdom. Dan Heights, are you there, Dan? Okay, I don't think Dan is there yet. Maybe we move on to the next one first. Next one is MediView from the United States. Adam, are you there, Adam? Oh, we have two missing startups. Okay, maybe it's pretty late in United States, right, Linda? Isn't it? Like
It's quite early, actually. It's
okay,
a little after 5:30.
Okay, great. Okay, I don't think we have Ignite Data and MediView online. Last call. I don't see them online. Okay, so without further ado, I think we will take the next 5 minutes for the judges to tabulate the results, and we'll come back in about 5 to 10 minutes, right? Let's make it 5 minutes later. I hope there's a lot of discussion, right? So we will just come back 5 minutes later, and we'll announce the winners, the top 3 winners. Yeah. So stay online. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, I think we have the result. Okay, thank you everyone. And now I will announce the 3rd place, and then Dr. Mark will announce the 2nd place, and Dr. Ralph will tell us who's the 1st place today. Yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's a combination of many factors. Just now we talked about it, right? You have team, right? Who is in the team, and how did you actually can drive it forward? The 2nd criteria is about market validation, whether is there a market and how do you actually capture the market. The 3rd criteria is on product, right? So that is something very good. How good is your product? Is it ready, right, for commercialization? 4th criteria is business model, right? Do you have enough good revenue generating model? Is it scalable? And the last one, which it may be just today, right? It's about soft skill, right? How do you pitch? And what is your presentation? How is it like, right? Okay, so now let's go to the thanks to all the 7. We actually have 2 of them missing, but thanks to all the 7 companies who have presented: SID, Sentira XR, Accordia, MediThinkQ, EXA, Space MedTech, and HouseCall VR. Yeah. Thank you very much once again for taking part in this pitch competition, right? I know some of you may be first time doing it. Hopefully that is also a very good experience, especially you need to pitch to the VC, okay? So without further ado, the 3rd place, I will be the one having the honor to announce that. So the 3rd place goes to MediThinkQ. Are they still online? Yeah, John, are you online?
Hi.
Can you show?
Yeah, I'm actually online. I'm online. Yeah, hello.
Yes, John, hi. You want to say a few words?
Well, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, especially for our company's MediThinkQ. It's a great opportunity, especially to award us. So, and also I want to appreciate also for those who are on board, those who actually took their time to prepare all this event. I know it's not that easy to gather all the people at once and to be able to share the innovative ideas and see how we can be able to make a world as a better place for each and every person to live. So on behalf of Medicine Q, I want to say thank you, and we look forward again. Maybe if we'll have more opportunity like this one. We're looking forward to participate for that. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I think pitching is just one part. Definitely, I believe you want to work with the health ecosystem participants on this call and live in Abu Dhabi as well. Yeah, congrats once again. Thank you for your participation. Right now, let's go to the second place. Can I have the honor to invite Dr. Mark to announce the winner for second place?
Yep. Second place goes to Sid. Congratulations, Sid.
Sid, is Lorena physically there? I don't see her online.
Unfortunately, she had to run to Dubai for a meeting, but she is no longer here with us.
Okay, we will let Lorena know separately that congrats to her, Sid from United Kingdom. Now, can I invite Dr. Raf to announce the first place for today?
Okay, thank you. And gratis Sveria, the winner in first place is Akore.
Akore, congrats, Dan from Sweden. Is Dan still online? Yes, Dan is still online.
Hello, guys. Thank you very much for this. This is amazing. I don't really have much to say. I would love to meet you all in person. I'm actually sitting here in Sweden, in cold Sweden, and enjoying this with my family. My son is here as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward for future collaboration, and thank you very much.
Congrats, Akore, and congrats, Dan, and say hi to your son. Have a Merry Christmas in advance, right? Okay, thank you very much. I think that ends our pitching competition for today. Yeah, thanks once again for everyone's participation and pitching, right? And hopefully you can also gain traction and collaboration with counterparts as well, right? And the entire ecosystem players. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hey, back to the live podium. Yeah, you have something to add on? Yeah, Mike?
Actually, everyone would like to hold for a second. Unfortunately, none of the winners can be here, but maybe we can have some pictures. We have the ambassador here with us and some of the key members. We can take a picture with you possibly in the background, and we will hold up. We actually have some certificates printed for first, second, and third, but what we'll do is I'll hold that up so we can have those pictures to share. Okay.
Thank you. So we will take a Wi-Fi.
With that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming and the hospital for all the hospitality making this possible. Yes, thank you very much, and good night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all. Okay, see you again soon in the next competition. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.